Well, hey everybody, how are you this evening? I thought we would do a little bit of Star Citizen tonight, and specifically, I want to talk about scanning. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. And so, we're just going to work our way into the PU, and I believe I'm on ARC L1. We'll double check that, but my goodness, have I gotten some interesting feedback from the community on scanning. Obviously, this weekend and into today, a lot of DMs, a lot of private messages. I've talked to a lot of people in the organization, and I've really been provided a lot of feedback, and I think I want to address some of that stuff tonight as we kind of go do a little mining. And one of the things that I'm really kind of interested in doing is discussing scanning, in a way that that's not hyperbolic, that basically addresses people's concerns. And one of the things I've said to our organization members is, when you're kind of facing something that you don't like, how do you work the problem? So we're going to talk about what I believe are some of the ways that scanning maybe has, obviously the changes that have happened with scanning, and we're going to chat about those. And we're also just going to, just kind of work our way through some of the issues. Now, I will tell you, I haven't been out to the Air and Halo that much. So a couple of things. Pyro, welcome aboard. How are you this evening, Pyro? I'm just starting to kind of get my feet here. Dat Boy, how are you, sir? Sharp 777, hello all. Rather be traveling, nice to see you. Rather, Kojak, how you doing? X-Cross, how is everybody? Good evening. How are y'all doing? So, we're just kind of getting our feet here, just getting started, and we are going to, like I said, we're going to do some mining tonight. We're definitely going to talk about scanning. We're really going to kind of zero in on some of the mechanics. I am going to start out on Lyria. And then eventually we're going to pivot to the Air and Halo. And I do think that there's a big distinction between Lyria or a moon surface and the Air and Halo. Although I will tell you, hey, Chris Bates, what up? Chris Bates says, what up, my peeps? Nice to see you, Chris. Now, I will tell you that there is definitely a difference between, at least what I've been told. Now, I have not gone to the Air and Halo yet in 3.17 since it went live in order to do any scanning or mining at all. So we're going to do some of that tonight. And so Rather Be Traveling says, I'm in Canada for a bit, lol. Hey, I have lots of friends up that way. Rather Be, and, obviously, get some poutine while you're up there. That's never a bad idea. And Sharp 777 says, not tried mining in the new patch yet, so came to see how it's changed. Sharp, I think the mining part of it, obviously there is the mining gadgets, which of course do add another layer of just kind of making it a little interesting when it comes to mining in particular. But there's also the scanning mechanics have changed, and I think that's going to be one of the bigger areas where you're going to see that. Now, I've just jumped on the server and I noticed she's just a touch choppy, but we're going to get our legs here. Sandy Claus, good evening. How you doing, Sandy? Sandy Claus says, yo. Pyro says, done some mining in the Halo in 3.17. The scanning isn't too bad, but it's not great either. And I think that's basically a lot of what I've been hearing, Pyro, is that it's a bit of a mixed bag out there. Some people are pretty, quite honestly, somewhat salty. And then other people are kind of taking it in stride. Excuse me, sir. Did you see I was getting pushed by a guy? So we're gonna kind of, we're not going to. It's the elephant in the room that we're not going to necessarily not address tonight. So Rather Be Traveling says, I did some mining the other day. It seems to have changed the mining a bunch. It seems harder without mining items. I don't know so much about how much harder it is. Obviously, I've always been kind of somebody who leaned on consumables rather. I'm not exactly sure I mean, Lancets, FLTRXL, and a couple of brands. That's usually how I do it, and so that's kind of the baseline that I have, and that's how at least that's how I'm gonna address it tonight. So let's take a look at the prospector and let's go ahead and get started. Now, I will tell you, I actually, not that I expected it to be different, but just to let you guys know, I invested in an Anvil Terrapin yesterday just because this is kind of a long-range scanning chip. It's got quote-unquote scanning mechanics, and I did some additional scanning with the Terrapin. Now, did I expect the meta to be any different with the Terrapin? No. But I can tell you, first of all, I like the Terrapin, so I'm always looking for an excuse to buy the Terrapin. But it was one of those things where, I didn't want to necessarily leave it to chance. I know the Akia, that's the Constellation Akia or Aquila, the Terrapin, and for instance, the Cutlass Red, they all have kind of some extra scanners on them, or more scanners, or varied scanners that maybe would impact the way scanning works. So, one of those things. But, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and, like I said, double check that we've got the right things on the MISC prospector, and we're going to head over to Lyria. Ratherby says, it does seem harder without the mining items. I addressed that. Pyro says, I've had similar results in Halo since 317, so that might be higher end rocks. Haven't done Atmo mining yet. I did a little bit of that in testing in the PTU, but I haven't done any of it in since it's gone live. I haven't gone to the air in Halo since it's gone live. Ratherby says, I'm lazy. I don't use anything. I find the 5120 rocks couldn't be broken because they were too unstable. Ratherby, I will tell you that at least you really want to at least make sure, if you're going to be doing Quantanium mining, at least make sure that you do have a Lancet MH1 as your laser. And honestly, it's crazy. Just grabbing a couple of brands doesn't hurt. If you're using the Arbor laser or the rental prospector, that a 5120 could definitely be a difficult rock to break. That's for sure. So not sure exactly which one you're using there, but if it's the rental, then I think that's where the mining gadgets, in my opinion, pay the most dividends. So we'll talk about that a little bit kind of going forward. Why on earth? Okay, yeah. Oh, that's Prospector 1's in claim. Pyro says the Lancet mining head could break anything in the Halo. It does take a while sometimes, though, but it can be done. Yes, the biggest rock you're going to run into in the Halo, at least, was a 5122, I believe, at least it was in 3.16, and it was in the limited amount of testing I had done in 3.7, the PTU. So the PU definitely is going to be interesting today. So we're absolutely going to start out on Lyria today, though. I will tell you guys that. That's where, it's one of the places where I do a lot of mining. As you can imagine, it's one of the more consistent places to get Quantanium. And so, I have a pretty good baseline established there of how that mining works. Sandy Claus says, Surge Stampede Optimum, able to break a 6.5K in my mole. There's no question that if you have, the Stampede and Optimum combination with the Surge, you can break those bigger rocks, and you've always been able to. And it's so funny. I know that a couple of times I got out on 6,500 rocks and attached a mining gadget in the wave shift. A lot of my Surge and Stampede, friends would remind me that they would have had that rock broke, much faster. And they're absolutely right. If you want a kit, for breaking larger rocks, you absolutely still have that Surge, Stampede, Optimum meta that you can go with, and there's nothing wrong with it, and it works great. I tend to do the one, as you guys know, I really like the Lancet, having an FLTRXL and a couple of brands, but I've flown past bigger rocks in the past as well. So, it's one of those things. Kojak says, I like to use 2 times Brant, 1 times Focus. 2 module with the Lancet mining head, and you can break 5,900K rocks. And he's telling that to Ratherby. So yeah, that's one of the cool things about mining, as we all discussed already, is, and many times, is that there's so many different layers of complexity. Everybody can kind of do what they're comfortable with, and that's the beauty of it, right? Not one thing is right, not one thing is wrong. When you have that Surge, Stampede, Optimum, what you don't have on those secondary breaks, you know, like the give and take, right, to be able to break the bigger rock, is of course then you have the smaller pieces that they have an instability of 2.5, and they can swing pretty wildly, you know. So, you know, different people have different comfort levels with the decisions that they make. Yeah, and I understand for sure why first break is a critical break, no question about it. So, Drac, welcome aboard. Drac, how you doing? Drac says, I need a winning lotto ticket so I can get out there and blow chunks. I hear you, Drac. You know, for sure. One thing I will tell you guys, and some of you guys who are here, as we kind of, you know, I never dreamed a couple months ago when I started this thing, and really I didn't put my foot on the gas till after the first of the year, so I guess we are getting on to, this is the beginning of the 4th month, is that we'd be sitting at 823 subs and climbing. And I am planning, I have mentioned this to you guys in the past, you know, I am planning on giving away a prospector at 1,000 subs. Now that's not, I'm under no illusions. I'm not trying to grow my channel with a giveaway or anything like that. It's more to say thank you to that first 1,000 people that have joined. You know, just because you guys come, you participate, you've made the channel what it is. And really, it's been great. I adore, you know, our conversations. I learned so much from you all, and you know, we've got a lot to definitely keep working through. Obviously, with these changes, like we're going to discuss today, we're definitely going to get into some of the scanning mechanics and how they have kind of changed and that kind of a thing. So yeah, we'll go ahead and spool up here. And we're going to kind of pivot towards Lyria. So we're going to spend a little time on Lyria, and then we're going to spend some time in the Halo today. So that's my goal anyways. I should always mention, you never really know what you're getting when you go mining, right? You very well could just be spending a lot of time looking for rocks and not finding any. So it's going to be, you know, we're gonna take each piece as it comes. We're going to go to Lyria first, see what we can find to mine, but we're definitely going to spend a little time talking about the scanning mechanics. And part of that is I really like to get some feedback, you know, from, you know, different people feel differently about it. I definitely am going to be collecting some video and kind of talking to people about the way that it's working. So SAL2 is a great place to go. By the way, I think not too far from SAL2 there's a derelict. Sometimes you cross that. Toe Cutter, nice to see you, Toe. How you been? Pyro says mining is just a big lottery most of the time. Yeah, it is. No question about that, Pyro. Toe Cutter says never looked at your sub count. You come across as a pro. Yeah, you know, I just got started, Toe. I mean, I never dreamed I would like mining, or pardon me, streaming at all. A couple, you know, like I will, you know, the little secret is which isn't too little of a secret if you're around the channel too much, is, you know, I wanted to find some extra people to come mining in our organization, which we definitely had very good success with. The channel's been really good at, we've, you know, some wonderful human souls have you know, really introduced themselves, and it's been such a pleasure to get to know so many. There's so many people in Star Citizen that are a lot like me, you know, just nice older person who likes to just mine in Star Citizen. There's tons of those kinds of people out, which has been really great. The other side of it is I have an 11-year-old who, you know, I think that he might enjoy doing like video editing and enjoy doing his own little stream someday. So I set out just trying to learn a little bit. You know, it's always nice to learn, you know, like last year I got like a SQL certification, or last year, you know, learning things is always fun. You know, kind of adding to your skills, it's always fun, you know what I mean? So this is something that I took on, but here's the thing, I decided I really enjoy streaming. I just do. It's fun. It's fun talking to you. Of course, I would be out here doing this anyways, even if, you know, I wasn't streaming, and that's kind of the beauty of it, right? This is what I like to do in Star Citizen. So Sandy Claus says, I changed my radar, increased my ping angle, binding, and set the alt wheel, decrease the ping angle, yep. And basically I can now see clusters up to 12K. Yes, active pinging is back. I mean, active pinging is definitely back in a big way. And you guys can see, here's one of the things, right? This rock icon is, you know, like if I back away from this thing, this is going to be one of the big changes, right? So I'm going to back away from this thing, and we'll see when we lose it. You know, and I don't necessarily know when that will be. But you can see right there, that's different. Okay, that is 100% different. One of the first things I want to talk about about when it comes to scanning is the fact that the rock icons are not showing up until you're in the neighborhood of like there you go. It's basically 1200, right? Let's just back up again. So we're at 1199, 1201. It's right around this area somewhere, maybe 1250. That we're gonna lose it. Now, because I'm going real slow, it's not, but there you go. Like, as soon as I kind of gave it a little juice. So that is a huge change in the way the scanning works. That little white circle down there that you barely can see, but that used to draw itself at 5,000 passively, and the rock icons would draw themselves at 5,000 or pardon me, around 4,000 or so. And so, and so you would get, I mean, if you go wingtip to wingtip as you flew along the surface in Lyria, if you think about it, 5,000 each side is, or 5,000 bubble around you, you're covering a pretty good surface area, 10,000 meters across. Well, now that the rock icons, now that you've got to be, now if you active ping, I will say, like here, and I'm going to active ping you guys. You can see that there's opportunity markers out here, right? But here's what I don't know. I don't know if that's gems or a rock. And before, like that 3174, that would have already been a rock icon. We would have already been able to tell whether or not it was a rock or not. But so there's been some improvement. Like if you're an ROC miner, this is great. I mean, it's interesting because I was watching Starstreams, who's a pretty good, obviously, guys, if you know Starstreams, he was saying that, it's almost like it's gotten too easy. Now you just find, now you just fly to the opportunity markers, and a high percentage of them are rock mineable, clusters or whatever. So it's interesting that people are kind of different, taking different positions on it. It's kind of a mixed bag, right? So. Kojak says, to be honest with you, Space Shorts, with your streams, I picked up so many tips and made millions from mining. Thank you for your streams. Kojak, that is super kind. Thank you so much. Pyro says, is your org recruiting public, or can you join it somewhere? But yeah, Pyro, there's a link in the description. It's spectrefleet.space. And you just kind of go there, and then you can sign up for the Discord, and there's some questions that they ask, and you're absolutely welcome to check that out. Anthony Ferrari, welcome to the channel. Not a name I recognize. Do I save my money for a freelancer or a solo bounty hunter ship? Well, I guess, Anthony, one of the real big question you have to ask yourself, sir, is what do you enjoy doing in game? Because if you enjoy combat, then you probably want to go to the bounty hunting side. A freelancer is going to be more for trading, and trading isn't in the best possible place. Sometimes, and I will tell you, I haven't checked since 3.17 dropped. Trading traditionally in the last couple patches hasn't been in a great place as far as that goes. It certainly could be in a better place now. But I can tell you that that's really what you want to, the real question, Anthony, you want to ask yourself is, are you a trader or are you a fighter? Blue Outrider, welcome to the channel. How you doing there? From what I've seen, gem opportunities don't show up as far as rocks. I haven't done a lot of mining, either rock or ROC, but that's my current take. Blue Outrider, you're absolutely right. One of the things that I definitely see is, you can see out here now, this is the thing, right? Active pings have become far more important, you guys. Active pinging has become far more important. Now, you can see out there are a couple of white icons. I don't know if you can see them, but active pinging is going to show you, if you're kind of not moving that fast, it is going to show you the rock icons at a distance. So, active pinging is definitely a far more important thing. Now, watch, I'm going to get very close. These two rocks are almost directly underneath me, and it is within 1,200 before you see the icons. That's a significant departure from the way it was before. So, Sandy Claus says, yeah, when I ping, it zooms from 12 km out, and you can see if it's a cluster or not. There are times, yeah, when you can focus. Now I'm using like I've got a 90-degree focus right now, and we're gonna find some clusters and kind of talk about the scanning mechanics a little bit. So with these being doublers, though, let's without further ado, let's go down here and take a look at these doublers. I mean, that part hasn't changed, right? Anytime it's doublers, it's always Quantanium, and we've got to do our due diligence here and take a look. This is a 7259. and it is finishing its scan now. It looks like this is going to be at a 12%. And what about this guy here? This is a 3368 mass at 6.65%, the neighbor of the beast there. and so, yeah, you can see once again out there around 6,000 on an active ping when I'm sitting, you can see the white icon out by this white opportunity marker. But the white icons, when you're moving, are not drawing that, you've got to get much closer to them. And if it's not under active ping, it goes away. So when you're under active ping, you can see it does show the white marker. So there's a lot more requirement, is a lot more active pinging. And you can see, look at this right here, you guys. This one never showed up on the scanner at all. It's just one of those things. I mean, it's just, so there's a little bit of, people are not quite, and I understand why. It's changed. The scanning's changed. It is a little bit more difficult to be discerning about what's what. You're not just flying along super fast speed, flying over that whole, and I'm not saying you can't do that, because you absolutely can. You can certainly fly along really fast speeds and find your doublers and find your clusters. But what's happening is you're not, when you fly by, you don't have a range of 10,000 passive from one wingtip to the other wingtip. You're not like a big ring of 5,000 flying all over the place. You're a ring of about 1,500 flying all over the place, which does make it significantly more challenging. It's a fairly large reduction, and this is what people are talking about. Now, the Aaron Halo is going to have a whole different set of other complexities, but I just want to make sure that that what I'm talking about makes sense. A lot of for the people who do watch this stream, it's important to understand there's been a change for sure. If you active ping, you can pick up the white marker. Obviously, if you active ping, you can pick up opportunity markers or the little cubes at pretty good distances. And depending on how you have your scanner angled, they can be pretty far away. I mean, there's one right there at 12 km, for instance, right? I mean, so you can get some pretty decent ones out there. But as you close the gap, though, you used to be able to, right at 5,000, they would turn into the white circle, which kind of gave you an idea that is a rock icon. And that's definitely not happening. It's a much closer distance. Now, if I get in, once again, under active ping within 5,000, we're going to close in on this guy. We're getting a 6,500. I'm active pinging. I'm going to active ping all the way. As soon as we kind of get into 5,000, under 5,000, we'll keep active pinging. Now, we just got under 5,000. You can see I still don't have white. It still hasn't given me white. Now, this could be a gem icon, is the reason it's not giving me the white marker. But there's the white marker at that point. So I received the white marker at somewhere around 3,000 in this case. And as I approach this, you can see that I'm not going to get a rock icon, So if I didn't have active ping going until about 1,200. And that's the change. That really is the change in a nutshell. It's making it so, here's what's happening in the most respectful sense. It's just taking longer to find things worth mining on Lyria. And I think that's, now, like I said, when we go to the Aaron Halo a little later, that's going to be a significantly different set of issues. And there is some upside in the sense that if you're a rock miner, these opportunity markers can definitely, spot gems out at a distance. But I can tell you, I just want to make sure everybody understands kind of when we're talking about scanning mechanics, this is the big change, right? And there you go. Like, this is a perfect opportunity. I wonder if that's going to be a rock or if that's going to be gems, because this is something you see as well, and I wonder if I can set this back up. So let's go in and see if this is gems or not. It looks like it's going to be a rock icon in a way, but I believe it will be gems, because this is another thing. So I think we might be able to demonstrate this. So this is definitely a gem pack. So Let me fly over this way, and I'll pivot on this in just a second. So, you know, it's really kind of a neat kind of thing that's happening here with these. So I'm going to go ahead and just pivot around almost 100, you know, back to where I can see those gem icons. Back to the absolute opposite direction. Now, I want to keep going backwards because there will be a moment, I think, when I don't pick up those. Now, maybe because I've found them, it's not going to do it. Yeah, and there's one right there we picked up. Look at, you can see right there, there's like the 3,700 out there. I don't have any, you know, I'm scanning. And this is, one of my org mates said that there's probably something going on that's similar to when you have a great big ship like a Carrack next to a Gladius. And when you scan, you don't see two ships. You only think that there's one ping out there. So watch me approach this guy. And as I approach it, I'm just going to keep, you know, kind of active pinging. And we're going to keep active pinging. But look at this right here. All of a sudden, active pinging, I got into a certain distance and this guy popped up, right? And it's almost because the noise of that bigger gem cluster was definitely overtaking the noise of this gem cluster. Now, this might be just kind of like one unit, or who knows what's going on here. But, you know, I mean, we're going to fly in and take over. Yeah, that's what it is. See, it's just one gem. That's why, like, when I fall back here once again, you know, you almost don't even see the thing. You, like, if you look, this is a perfect example. Now that at 2145, that's a big gem cluster, but that's a gem cluster right down there too. But if I back up, you know, like, we'll lose that under active ping, you know, and so that's something that does happen right now. I did look at that rock, and for whatever reason, once you kind of single them out, they last a lot longer, the scan pings. But now you can see, once again, I have that ping out there at 5,000. We're going to start heading back. And this is something I wanted to demonstrate for you guys. Kojak says, over the next few weeks, will you be testing the gadgets to see what best gadgets are for bigger rocks? Kojak, absolutely. Now, the Bormax is supposed to be really the guy for bigger rocks. But there, you know what? I know that there was a balance pass because early in the 3.17 PTU, I was breaking large rocks like 7,000, 8,000, you know, mass rocks with the mining gadgets. And then, you know, I tried to break a 7,700 or a 7,000 at 40% the other day, and I couldn't break it. So, you know, we will be doing a lot of testing with that stuff, Kojak, for sure. So notice again, I know that this, you know, just trying to drive this home, you guys, a little bit. Notice that there's that, you know, out there is that it's that gem cluster, but there's this other gem cluster that you know, it just popped up right there. And this is the same thing that's going on with the rock minables just in general. So sometimes you can get a ping on a big rock, but it's just one of those things where, like, there is definitely a distance meta that's going on with the scanning. So here's another thing I want to look at with the scanning as well. And so this is the thing this is one thing that I think is just kind of really kind of not in a great place, right? And so let's talk about this a little bit. I see that one rock down there. Let's go ahead and see. Now it's just one. But look, I'm not getting any. I've got a mass reading of 0.11. And then I'll go back on it again. And it's rescanning it again. It's just mass at 0.11. Now if I get a little closer to this thing, like, it may give me some additional information at some point. Scanning it now. See? Now I've gotten closer to it. Now I've got an instability of 3.73. Now I know this is Dolovine because of the instability, but that's something that you'd have to kind of familiarize yourself with. But until I get almost darn near on top of this rock, it won't show me the right-hand information of the scan result. I absolutely can make it give me a scan result if I keep getting closer and closer and closer. Eventually, it will give me a scan result. Now, I don't necessarily know if that's how they want it to be done, but I can tell you that, you know, and see how I finally got close enough? It's not a timing thing. What I'm telling you is it has to do with how close you're getting to the node in order to get that extra information. It doesn't just build up over time. You have to get within a certain range. First of all, you'll get a mass. Then you'll get kind of some secondary information along that left-hand side. And then you'll finally get... Now, but look how close I am to this thing. You know, I mean... I don't know. Am I really supposed to get that close to that thing in order to tell what it is? I mean, you know, I don't know. I'm just being honest. You know, it's just like... That seems like it's fairly... You know, fairly egregious. So let's fly onto this next next node cluster. Now, all I'm doing is kind of calling it as people were telling me about it. I want you to know I love Star Citizen. I'm not trying to be down on the game, or I just want to make sure that we understand kind of there has been a change in the scanning mechanics. Now, I knew this was a lot more gems over here, right? So I'm just going to kind of there's a lot of noise in this thing, but you know, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get a scan. And look, it's only giving me the mass, you know, like at that distance. Now, if I scooch in a little bit, I'll start getting mass plus some additional results, right? Blue Outrider says, oh, Tommy Gunn, welcome to the channel, Tommy. Tommy says, I tried my prospector on Lyria last night and my scanner wouldn't work. Yeah, I've heard a little bit about that, Tommy, for sure. Blue Outrider says, Blue, by the way, how are you doing? I really want someone to take a Terrapin out there and see if any scans are different. Blue, I don't know if you caught earlier on the stream, I said I bought a Terrapin last night and I came to Lyria and I tested it and it's no different than what you're seeing. So thank you for mentioning that. I absolutely brought a Terrapin. And the videos that I'm going to take over the next week, when I begin kind of doing scanning meta videos, it's going to be in the Terrapin. I'm using the Terrapin specifically for those videos, Blue. So I want you to know, I'm on it. I know what you mean. I got a Terrapin. I'll figure out a way to get my hands on a Constellation Aquila. That one also has a scanning thing, and the Cutlass Red. I'll borrow them, you know, I'll rent them, whatever's necessary. I am looking to see if there's some kind of between the crack. I'm working the problem is basically the issue. You know, trying to figure out if there's a solution here. Kojak says, so with this new patch, what would you recommend for altitude and speed for best results? Well, right now, that's still a little bit under debate. I still think just kind of 300, about 1,500 off the deck's going to be your best shot right now, Kojak, until I say anything different. Pyro says, in the Halo, at least you need to be within 350 meters to get a composition. That's what I'm talking about. Like, these composition scans and stuff, like right here now, watch. At this distance, I may get more than mass, but I may not. Now, yep, I'm getting everything on the left-hand side. So this is a Dolovine cluster. I happen to know this because of the instability. I think it's at a 3.4. But I will have to get really close to these rocks down here before they will give me the scan results on the right-hand side. And this is the big change. There he goes, this Dolovine, right? Now, I kind of knew that because of the instability. So here's something that I've noticed before for sure, right? When you see opportunity markers out there like 70, 200 and that type of thing, if you keep active pinging and flying towards those, there are times when what will happen is another intermediary opportunity icon will pop up between you and that distant one. And a lot of times that one is gem icons or ROC icons. Somewhere around the 4,000 mark on an active ping, you'll start picking up the white circles. You get the flash. See how that worked right there? I got the flash at about 4,000, and then somewhere within about 1,100, it's basically 1,200 or so, 1,250. This thing will then turn into a rock icon, and this is what people are talking about. This is a big change in the way that the scanning works. And I have, like I said, I just got myself a Terrapin. I am going to be doing some testing with an Aquila. I am going to be doing some testing in the Cutlass Red. We are going to be looking into whether or not there's any fall through the crack scanning mechanics that, you know, that we can share with you guys. But, you know, this is a big part of what we're talking about as far as surface mining goes. So now that I've kind of addressed that, we'll just kind of get on to mining a little more. But I wanted to share that with you guys because when people are talking about the scanning meta, that's the thing that they're talking about that's changed. So, Soren Fristine says, yo, Space Sports, I have some warm coffee for you tonight. That's awesome. A little coffee with the Quantanium, hopefully. Kojak says, it looks to me like you need to be lower and slower for best results. A little bit lower and a little bit slower doesn't hurt. But the thing is the 1,500 at 300 or so is a kind of a good cruising speed. You know, normally, you know, like when we send out scouts, they're going like, 13, 1400 and then pivoting on clusters. So yeah, I mean, that still is a pretty low and slow, like when you're like 1500. Now, of course, the altitude meter's not working for me right now. Now, the meta hasn't changed, but it is harder, as you can imagine, if you're not reaching from 10,000 or a 5,000 bubble around you, right? So 5,000 to the right of me, 5,000 to the left of me, a 10,000 meter swath as I come through here. It's more like a 4,000 meter swath on an active ping, it will cut down on how fast you can locate stuff without dedicated scouts. Now, dedicated scouts are always a good thing to have anyways, if you're going to be doing some mining. But, when you see people talking about the scanning meta, this is kind of what they're talking about, at least for this part. Now, that's going to be some gems, I think. Just want to make sure that's not... Yep, that was gem icons. I am going to, keep looking for doublers here. I do want to... I actually do a little mining, not just 100% talking about the scanning mechanics. But like I said, I've had a lot of people. Hey, 14, by the way, how are you, sir? Mr. Azai's on board saying hi. Afternoon to you. Tommy Gunn, it says it seems like rock mining got a buff and ship mining got a big nerf. Well, I definitely think that this locating the rock nodes definitely got a buff. Although, you've got to get pretty darn close to them to tell exactly what they are. And if you're just specifically had night farming, you still got to work a little bit hard to look at them. But you can absolutely see them from a lot greater distance, and a lot of people are talking about that, and it's interesting. I mean, even some of the more hardened rock miners, and Starstreams comes to mind. I mean, he was saying, boy, it almost seems like it's a little too easy now. So, very kind of interesting shift in the meta for sure. Maybe a lot more rock miners out there than prospector miners, but it's not impossible to prospect. It just takes a lot longer than it used to, and I can imagine in a solo mole, with the kind of the nature of kind of going back and forth, that type of thing, it could be even a little more tedious in that capacity. So. Anyways, Pyro says, especially the mole kind of seems like needs a scout since it has to scan each individual rock, but it seems like the changes made slow down how fast you can find a good rock. That's what it is, Pyro, for sure. I mean, you used to have, like I said, this 10,000 foot swath as you cruised along at high speed, and you could pivot on any more than 2 rocks in a big cluster, and then, kind of target it, where now it's a much, it's reduced by, I think the math's about 80%. So, it's reduced significantly. And Craig Craig, welcome to the channel, Craig. Craig Van Veld says, spawns feel a little more rare as well. They went a little too far, dialed it back. Needs to be dialed back a touch. I agree. I think it's someplace between where it was and where it is, right? I mean, it's a mixed bag. But, the most important thing is today I definitely am just trying to show you guys what the changes are. So that way, when I kind of put some videos out over here in the next week or two, kind of explaining this, I wanted to get some of your feedback as well, different people's feedback. I definitely have gotten some feedback. And certainly some of it has been, pointed for sure. I think would be the word that I would choose to use. And I can really respect where people are coming from on it. One of the things, as somebody who kind of is an advocate for this particular kind of play, I do think this is something that can definitely lead to, a fairly big slowdown. Now, Alpha Infinity, welcome to the channel. Not a name I recognize. But Alpha's absolutely right. Prospector mining in the belt is pretty tedious at the moment. We're headed to the Aaron Halo to discuss scanning mechanics at some point here in a little while, Alpha. If I can find something here to mine on Lyria in between now and then. So I am Egon Edmonds. Welcome to the channel, Egon. How are you today? Egon says, "Hey, what specs do you have?" Egon, I don't have that. I have a 3900X and a 3070, 32 gig of RAM and an SSD drive. And so I play at 1440p and I stream at 1080. But that's what I have right now. And 1440p runs really good. The 3070 I think is in a good spot for 1440p. And I, I seem to do pretty well, even though I have OBS open, and and I'm streaming and that type of thing. So any other questions on that, I'd be happy to answer them. Craig says, how do you get your icons yellow? Craig, excellent question. That's the Gray Cat Aerial Armor Set Hazard. I think any of the Gray Cats do it, but it's the Hazard set in particular that I normally recommend. That's the yellow set, so it kind of yellow set, yellow icons. I'm wearing the blue set right now, I believe, but it's yellow icons. But remember, not necessarily remember, but I do have a video on it. It's called Yellow Icons, on where you could buy that stuff. You do have to, there's a cluster, you guys. This is what we're looking for. You do have to, when you buy the Aerial set, just so you know, Craig, you have to put the helmet on, go back to menus, and come back before it will actually turn the icons yellow. So if you just buy the Aerial and put it on and run out there, it's not going to change it. You have to go back to menus one time with the helmet on first. So let's go ahead and see if we can find something to mine in this, and then if we do find something cool to mine, we're going to mine it, and then we're going to head over to the Aaron Halo and talk about probably the more egregious scanning mechanic change that a lot of people are very, for lack of a better term, salty about. And I have not been in the Aaron Halo myself in 3.17. I did a lot of testing in 3.17 PTU, but not since it went live. And a lot of my mining friends have hit me up, and they're they're just kind of they're a little unhappy with the way the Halo's working, and we're gonna go look at that together in a little bit too. Egon Edmund says, will this game ever be optimized enough for people who don't want to spend thousands on a PC? You know what, Egon? They did make a significant step forward, offloading some of the processes to different cores. As a matter of fact, I mean, it's in a better state now than it was. I mean, FPS, which is not going to be great, but it's going to be, it looks like I'm getting around 42 FPS streaming. I usually get around 50 or between 50 and 60 FPS when I'm not streaming. So it's not great, but I would tell you that people will tell you that 3.17 has made significant inroads to making it perform better. The single core has gotten much some love, as well as they're offloading some processes into the other cores. So let's go ahead and pull out the mining laser. This is a 7000. It's going to be a low percentage rock. It's a 2%er. We're going to take a look at these. Pyro says 3.17 performance prepared is a lot better with the Gen 12 stuff. I agree with that 100%. I was getting 80 FPS or 70 FPS sometimes in Area 18. And so, yeah, and Craig says I'm running a 4K with a generic system from Best Buy. There's a nice rock potential, you guys. We'll have to see. We'll come back to that one in a second. Maybe it's not. Maybe that's around 15 or 16%. Not as. We'll have to look. This one here's not great. It's a 2%er for sure. This one here, this is going to be probably a pretty good size rock. It's a 6600. Not a great percentage there. What about this guy here? This is a pretty good size rock, but it's going to be low percentage. Let's go ahead and take a look at this guy. This, I don't know if this is going to have good percentages in it. Yeah, I was noticing that the optimal window is a little higher up, so it's only a 13%er. So this cluster is a buster. I wasn't planning on saying that. It just kind of came out of my mouth like the filter did not. I did not filter that ridiculous statement before it crept out. So that cluster was a bust. Let's keep moving on. Byro says one more thing. More things are moved to Vulkan with Gen 12, it will probably be a lot easier to run lower spec PCs. I agree with that 100%. Tommy Gunn's asking, how are your nodes yellow? Tommy, I spoke to that just a minute ago. It's the Aerial Gray Cat armor set. I have a video called Yellow Icons. If you look back in my videos for yellow icons, you'll definitely find it. And it will tell you like where to buy the set. It's the Gray Cat armor. It's the Hazard yellow. I think most of them do it, but I just recommend that one because I absolutely know that one does. I'm wearing the blue one right now, and it does it. But you have to put the helmet. It's just a helmet, and you have to put the helmet on. Go back to menus, and then log back in. So Egon Admin says, I'm just not willing to play unless I can get pretty consistent 60 FPS. Will my Radeon 5700 XT GPU be good enough for this game using a Ryzen 5? Well, the 3600X will definitely do okay. I mean, you will face some CPU bottlenecks for sure. Which is just kind of part and parcel with the way it goes. It's not that you could easily play 1080p. Whether or not you're going to consistently get 60 FPS, I'm not sure. I will tell you though, Egon, at some point, with the 5800 X3D in that system, you certainly might be able to get some pretty darn good performance. I mean, that's, obviously you can drop the 5800 X3D in the same system as you can have that 3600X in, probably with a BIOS update, and that would be a pretty good upgrade. Like 10 pound 42 does some pretty good testing on that chip. So, Gray Peter, how are you, Gray? Nice to see you tonight. How have you been, sir? So we're out here looking. We found a cluster. We found some doublers. We're really kind of striking out, you guys, so far. I think what we need to do is start zigzagging. We definitely want to start going over the opportunity markers a little more. Making them, keeping them honest, making them turn into rock icons. And so, yep, that cluster that we found was just didn't have anything real good in it, just a 16%er, something along those lines, and that's not going to cut it for us. There are some doublers, and that's why you kind of, unfortunately now, when you see opportunity markers, you really just kind of have to fly towards them. And it's one of the things that as I was talking to you, I kind of got over my skis thinking about things or whatever, and I wasn't kind of, following kind of the new meta. And the new meta is, chase the opportunities. Go to every single opportunity marker because it could be doublers and you just can't tell that it is. So that's definitely, a reasonable thing. And so, there's not nearly as much straight line fly. Now that's going to be gem icons, I'm pretty darn sure. Yep. And we're going to keep on moving. So, Great Peter says in 3.17, MSI 6800 XT is running very hot, 80 degrees Celsius, and all fans are flat out all the time. Yeah, I noticed with the recent Windows update that my 3070 Ti actually is running a little hotter too. It was really weird. I mean, because it's at one of those Aoruses that have the, kind of the temp right on it. It kind of just does it for you. It's always in my face. And then right after I did this Windows update, it was up 10 degrees, and I haven't been able to kind of go back and pin that down yet. That's something I need to look at myself. Ryan, nice to meet you, Ryan. How are you? Welcome to the channel. Ryan says, mining the Halo is a lot more tedious with the new scanning mechanic. Yeah, Ryan, we're definitely talking about the scanning mechanics here on Lyria first, but right after I find something to mine, I'm going to head over to the Iron Halo, and we're going to talk about the scanning mechanics there. I'm definitely hoping to find something to mine, though, and here on Lyria before we head back to the refiner, and then we will head out to the Iron Halo, and we will definitely talk about those scanning mechanics, because a lot of the people on the mining channel here have hit me up. And so, hey, one thing I will mention, some of you new guys, if you do like mining content, please do like and sub. It does bring, other people to the channel. And obviously that's what we're looking for, is to build a mining community and people who will kind of share the kind of things that we're sharing today, to just try and, hopefully work the problem and find something out that, find a way to kind of, either grid our way through, or, potentially, maybe use some terrapins or some constellation to kill Aquilas or Achilles, whatever they're called, and that type of thing. So, Mr. Zai says free events always run bad because there's large influx of new players. That's absolutely true. And yeah, that you can be for sure. Whenever you see you're having a free fly event or that type of thing, there's definitely going to be a lot more people on, and there's going to be some performance type things that are, that always can pop up there. So yeah, we definitely have to go to, you definitely have to fly to all your opportunity markers. You don't want to miss your opportunities now, right? You can't just rely on it picking up 5,000 meters away. You can't rely on it being, just passive scans. You've got to you really do have to put your nose on these things and go look at them. And in order to see your doublers and in order to see your clusters, and that's just, it's just kind of where it's at. So, as you guys, I don't know did I pass a doubler? I'm not sure I did. Now, I'll go back and look this way and see if I did. I may have passed some rock or some rock gems, but we'll take a look and see. Craig, Ratherby says my home system is a Threadripper 3970, 128 gig of RAM, Samsung G9 at 240, 5120 by 1440 with a 3080 Ti, all water cooled. I can push the game full deal around 40-50 FPS. That's a really nice system, Ratherby. That's a really nice system. And I have a similar monitor. I have that 5120 by 1440. I am waiting for the next generation of GPU. I may have to, of course, upgrade my. I may have to upgrade my power supply as well. But yeah, but I only have 32 gig of RAM myself, and of course, like I said, I have that 3070. So Great Peter says now I'm learning to mine on Lyria. That's awesome. Craig says I missed some doublers way back there. I may have. Sometimes I'm chatting. And now, I bought the Terrapin last night, 14, and I brought the Terrapin over and tried to do some scanning with it. And the meta's the exact same. And definitely when I'm taking some video this week and discussing the scanning mechanics, I will be using the Terrapin. First of all, I like the Terrapin. And I can't wait for the scanning mechanics to work. I did also climb in the back of the Terrapin into the support station, hoping that maybe there was something special back there, but nope. Same kind of scanning as I'm getting in the Prospector, no different. But yeah, I mean, ideally someday that thing would be definitely doing better. And see, this is that one thing that you kind of, you got to kind of train yourself on. You've got to fly to each one of these now. On Lyria, if you don't, you're leaving opportunities on the table, and you have to fly pretty darn close to them too. And this is what people are talking about as far as, now that ended up being a gem icon. So yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, you really do have to fly to every single one of these in order to maximize your chances to find something to mine. Now, I've been down here for a little while. And that's not, obviously one trip out's not indicative of the way that it is. But I can tell you after mining, on Lyria for months every day, that I have noticed a bit of a slowdown of how fast I can locate things to mine. I mean, it's just, when you used to be able to scan at 10,000, here's some doublers here. When you used to be able to scan at 10,000, and now you can only scan at about, closer to maybe 2,500, it's just how it is, right? They've reduced the scanning range fairly significantly. So that's not a great rock. Let's go ahead and look at this guy here. Mr. Dye says, perhaps they haven't added a better scanning. And yeah, it's probably just that. Yep, this isn't a great rock either, you guys. A couple 2%ers. I mean, eventually I'm sure the Terrapin's going to do what they say the Terrapin's going to do. And I love the Terrapin. It's a great ship. But yeah, I didn't notice any difference in scanning at all with it, since I did some testing with it. Jan says, "Am mining on Lyria? It was more pleasant in 3.16 to be honest." Yeah, I mean, different people have had different certainly have different opinions on that, Jan. I mean, I can tell you that most of the people I've talked to aren't as comfortable with where it was before. But listen, I can certainly understand if somebody kind of, they mine in order to kind of just take their mind off of things or whatever. I think it's that person who used to put their foot on the gas and really try and squeeze out a lot of money. It's slower, right? So it doesn't mean that it's not fun or not enjoyable. I love mining in Star Citizen, even though it's not going to be as profitable. I'm going to continue to do it, absolutely. And I'm sure just because you're still going to have those days where you just find nice rocks pretty quickly. So Ratherby says they might be trying to slow the rate of getting money for the game. They absolutely might be, Rather. That's a very good point. And and they also obviously they may also be trying to funnel more people towards FPS, because now that they have the FPS selling, they're looking to collect more metrics there. You never really do know. That being said, I think it's always at least fair to just kind of speak on the scanning mechanics. Make sure that people's, you basically call it as you see it, which is, I definitely have had a lot of people come to me on the channel and say, hey man, I'm not I'm not real happy with the way that it is, and I can understand it. But, you know, I'm definitely somebody who enjoys mining in Star Citizen, and I definitely wanted to make sure that we very clinically just discussed the issue. Didn't get over our skis too much about how, you know, whether or not we were angry or whatever, and just kind of discussed it clinically and just kind of, you know, just chatted about it a little bit. So, Lil Chucker says, other than Quantanium, what would be the second best thing to mine? I think Bexolite. I don't think there's anything wrong with Bexolite mining or Laranite, but, you know, you can actually find pretty good Laranite, Terranite, and Bexolite on Aberdeen. Aberdeen has, you know, is not a bad place to mine for that. Those three things, for sure. Great Peter says, I found it much better mining on Lyria in the Halo, and I only use the mine in the Halo. Yeah, I definitely, we're gonna fly if I do manage to find something here before we run out of hydrogen, and if I get down to 50%, I'll hit an OM marker and go look someplace else. So, you know, we're not gonna kind of just keep our foot on the gas forever here, you know. But if I hit 50%, then what we'll do is we'll go hit an OM marker, and I'll continue to look on Lyria. Hopefully we'll find something to mine. And then if I find something to mine, then I am absolutely planning on going to the Air and Halo and checking that out for this stream as well. And just speaking to the scanning mechanics for the Air and Halo as well. I think the Air and Halo is going to end up being the much more challenging example where people, you know, have really talked about, you know, of course, between some of the traditional challenges that you have in the Halo. You know, there's some other challenges there as well. So we're just going to keep on kind of keeping our foot on the gas here. Amos Black, how you doing, Amos? Nice to see you tonight, sir. Fade to Black, nice to see you. Fade to Black, not a name I recognize. Welcome to the channel. And a great song, by the way. Eva has issues with PvP. Does this game have issues with PvP as a miner? Sure, it can. Fade to Black. I mean, you know, there certainly are times when miners are, you know, pirates hit miners, and so that definitely is a thing. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen. And I think that's only going to increase as the cargo refactor comes in 3.18. So after cargo's physicalized and they can really go after it, you know, I would imagine that piracy is definitely going to pick up after that. So yeah, so here we're going to keep looking here. So Amos says, haven't played in 3.17. Is the meta finding quant still the same, or have things changed? Amos, we're discussing the scanning mechanics. They've changed fairly significantly. It's you really have to be within a very close distance to the rock. As you can see, like out there at 1500, you know, like it's not going to become a rock icon until you're pretty close. Now in this case it's gem icon, so that's not a great example, but here we'll keep moving towards where there's rock icons. So Amos, if you notice, we're inside 3000, we're inside 2000, we're inside 1000. And so it is a rock. I can see it right there. I'm putting my cursor on it, but it's really within 1100 before it's becoming a rock icon. So we're finding that Quantanium mining is a little slower than it used to be, and that, you know, on Lyria, because we're not cutting, our passive scanning isn't cutting as wide of a swath. So I think that's probably the safest way to say it. You can see right there, I mean, you've got to get real close to these rocks before they turn into rock icons. Where you used to be able to tell, you could be, you know, almost 4,999 away, and you could tell that was a, you know, that it would give you the big white flashes, and you could see like the clusters. And now you have to get much closer. And this is what some of the scanning, you know, some of the folks are talking about. Now I know that one flight out is not indicative of how it is, but, you know, hey, I've been out here now for a little while looking for something to mine, hitting all my opportunity markers as much as I can, and we haven't hit anything yet. So, and then Pyro says, if you're in the Halo, it would be very, yes, that's the one thing I guess, Fade to Black, you should know about. There are places in the deep black of space that you can go. One of the places called the Aaron Halo, where you can really avoid piracy fairly significantly. Gravedigger27 says, there's a vid with a workaround to zoom passive scanning out to 10K. I haven't seen that video yet. I definitely will go looking for something like that. if paths of scanning could get out to 10K, I had a terrapin on Lyria yesterday, Grave. So, definitely if you know some of the long and short of it, I would be interested in that to get the passive scanning out to 10K. Whatever that workaround is, I'll look for it because that's an important thing. And yeah, I've been out here just kind of chatting about the scanning mechanics for sure. Tommy Gunn says, I seen that video, but I couldn't get it to work. I think, one of the, now, one of the things I'll tell you is, it would be interesting. I wonder if there's, if there's some kind of a, maybe they're overclocking a scanner or something. Grave, do you know, Grave, how exactly, what they're doing to make that happen? I mean, that's kind of why we're out here testing this stuff, is looking for maybe an opportunity like that, or to have a discussion where somebody said that, hey, I've seen this change in those types of things, and we definitely want to help get the word out. So, anyways, yeah, I did a lot of messing around with the terrapin yesterday and didn't have any luck, but there very well could be things like that kind of change that. So I definitely am interested in that type of thing for sure. We're going to keep finding these opportunity markers and see how we do. And off we go here. Pyro says, I think the most frustrating thing about the Halo is that the rocks still don't always scan. And some rocks are unscannable as well. It doesn't. Yeah, I think that's one of the things that you're talking about, Pyro. Is one of the things that I've heard as well. Is you have, of course, the new you have the traditional scanning issues with kind of the dead rocks and the things that won't scan out there, and then you do have also, kind of the new kind of more narrow scanning mechanic as well. So he remaps the scan angle to left alt mouse wheel. Well, the scan angle, I mean, I can change the scan angle fairly significantly. I'm not sure, I'm not exactly sure why the scan, I think this is the scan angle here when I'm changing this. I guess that's an interesting question. Tommy Gunn says, he remaps the scan angle to left alt mouse wheel. Let me go ahead and just look at an option here, and let's go to key bindings, and let's look at advanced controls, and let's go to scanning, and let's see if we see scanning angle. It's mouse wheel up and mouse wheel down. So I have it, I have my scanning angle definitely set, right? So what's going on there, I mean, if you can see here, if I'm in scan mode, oh, now that's interesting. In scan mode, look at that, you guys. That is interesting. Look at those those icons did pop out much further. Now that's kind of cool thing to learn. Yeah, and of course that's going to be gem icons that just appeared below me. So the scan, yeah, that is kind of interesting. I wonder if we're going to be able to get a rock icon faster. We still had to be within a certain range to get, but at least I am getting a marker out further for sure. Yeah, I mean, I have my scan angle definitely tight. It's very interesting. We'll keep moving on this here. Here, let me kind of increase my speed a touch. Oh, not that. I wanted to do this. Yep. So that is interesting that you can, that you're getting, of course, the opportunity markers out there at that great of a distance. Now, hold on. Let me kind of take this thing back here to one. Yeah, definitely more 90 degrees-ish, right? Kind of interesting. I will say the new scanning made the rock mining easy. Oh, definitely, Grave. Definitely the scanning made the rock mining easier. So it zooms when the angle changes. I think the old rock trick, Diogenes says, I think the old rock trick not work for the prospecting. It seems something to pop up close as gems. Yep. Tommy Gunn says it zooms when he changes the angle. And so I have the angle as tight as it can be. Diogenes says, especially the bigger it is, the further away it will show up. The smaller, the closer it will show up. That's absolutely true. Sharp777 says, I do not think this is how scanning will be for the long haul. I agree with that, Sharp, 100%. Honestly, I think they want to fuel players to different aspects and mechanics of the game and test them out. And that's something I was kind of alluding to earlier, is they may want to funnel people into FPS a little more. But, you know, it'll be interesting to see if that's the case, Sharp. It's a very good point you're making, for sure. You know, Gray Peter says, it's not like I found rocks all the time in the Halo. Some days I didn't find, but some days you do quite well. I agree with that. The Aaron Halo is definitely less consistent than Lyria has been. Gravedigger says, I will say the new scanning made rock mining easy. Yep, I agree with that. Tommy again says, I wonder if it focuses your scanner to a greater distance. It does. I mean, it certainly, you can see here that you do get the opportunity markers are out there a pretty good ways. You know, but you know, focusing the scan definitely hasn't changed how, you know, you still have to get really close before it becomes a rock icon. Watch. You see that you're still within 1200 there on that. And I definitely, you know, I mean, you don't get any scan results at all. Like, if I'm just kind of sitting here trying to scan that thing, you know, I'm getting nothing. And, of course, that looks like it's going to be gem icons, which is no big deal. But, yeah, this is, I mean, we can see here, we've spent a lot of time looking today. And it's not to say you don't get lucky. I mean, it is, you know, it is what it is. We're probably getting down to around 50%. Well, we're probably still 60% hydrogen. And we're going to continue to look, and hopefully we're going to find something to mine here before too long. I will hit an OM marker at 50% hydrogen, though, just so we're all on the same page. You know, and once again, just a couple of flights isn't indicative of how it is. I mean, I did, you know, I certainly found 3 nice 20%ers the other day when I came, you know. They didn't break very clean, but they were, you know, that's what it was. And I haven't been able to do a ton of mining since 3.17 dropped. And Tommy Gunn says, I need to relearn mining. Fair enough, Tommy. I appreciate that for sure. You know, there are definitely some aspects of the game that I myself need to kind of relearn. Yeah, you can see that right, you know, and so you really do have to fly towards your opportunity markers, you know, in order for them to, you know, let you know if it's kind of a doubler or a single rock or whatever. Or if it's gems, you know, and sometimes it is gems for sure. And we'll kind of get out here and keep on looking. We're definitely looking for something to mine out here, but you know, and obviously we're somehow ended up in a restricted area. I think that's okay. I don't think that causes too many problems. Somewhere we crossed the line. We'll kind of make sure that we're staying, you know, trying to cruising across here and trying to keep ourselves out of trouble. So Bane Ep says, is rock mining the same or did it change? Rock mining's gotten significantly easier, Bane, for sure. You know, these opportunity markers do a better job at letting you know where the ROC nodes are at. It could be one or the other at the distance. And then they fixed the extraction bug. So rock mining's in a much better place than it was, I think. Now, you know, some people are making the argument that maybe rock mining's even gotten too easy, which is, you know, an interesting point, and certainly one that, I mean, I think that, you know, anything that would make it, you know, more enjoyable is okay with me for sure. Great Peter says, unlike on Lyra, you have to check every rock in the Halo, as not all clumps or doubles or quant. Yes, you do. On Lyria, you definitely have to check out you definitely still have to check every rock, every single opportunity cluster. Now you have to fly to, just to make sure it's not doublers. You know, I mean, because you're not going to have the 5,000 meter passive that's going to tell you whether or not it's rocks or not. You know, more than one rock. So you definitely have to fly up close to every single opportunity and then take a look at it and then move on from there. Like I'm going to do here. And then lots of times it's, you know, it's just a single and then off you go. So, you know, that in and of itself, like I would have never gotten that close to a single before. So that's, I think, really that's the best way to kind of explain. I would have never gotten that close to a single rock in the old in 3.16. Diogenes says you can do it for resolve, but if you decrease the scanning angle, it will tell you. It can tell you if a group of rocks are further. Yeah, we'll have to kind of we'll look at that. I mean, I've got it very narrowly angled, and I definitely will watch those videos and see if there's something I'm missing on that particular front. We'll keep looking at that stuff. Gravedigger says, so given the new scanning mechanic, do you think it would be worth it to rent a prospector and get some gadgets to continue rock mining? Well, I think the verdict is still out on that for me, Grave. In the most respectful sense, I'm not 100% sure that I'm ready to make a Now, I can tell you the rented prospector is in the best place it's ever been with mining gadgets. Mining gadgets play a significant role in the rented prospector. You absolutely could use those things to break rocks that the Arbor laser could never touch before. And I definitely will be making a video on that at some point. Bane Neppy says, do you know when the next ship sale will be? Yeah, I do. It will be for this upcoming military event. I think it's at the end of May. Usually it's I forget the name of it. Guys, will one of you in the chat answer that? I always forget the name of that event. It is right at the end of May, though, and it will be, there'll be a ship sale. It's the big military parade event for sure. Sharp 777 says, I think there 77777. I think there is a ship event at the end of the month. Yeah, that's exactly right. It is at the end of this month. It's the military Fleet Week. That's exactly right. Thank you, Philip Hoffer. Thanks for throwing me a life preserver there. I was definitely floating. Fleet Week, exactly. Diogenes says, I might be an optimist, but I think the new scanning is more realistic feeling. Now that every single rock is scanned for me. Well, yeah, definitely different people have different feelings on it. What I can tell you is, if every single time you come to Lyria, you're going to fly around for 45 minutes or an hour to find something to mine, that's going to definitely impact people. I mean, it is a change, and it's not a change that, it's certainly, I enjoy mining. The act of chatting with you folks and mining is just awesome to me. But some people definitely, they kind of got used to how quick things were kind of happening. And so I definitely understand where they're coming from, and I'll just kind of continue to just help and draw some light to it. And like I said, had I found something to mine already, I would have already headed out to the Air and Halo. So we're going to get to 50% hydrogen, which is coming up here pretty quickly. I'm going to hit an OM marker. We'll come down someplace else and see if we can find something to mine. So now I've had a couple of, I'm sure for those of you who have watched my stream, I definitely have had some times when I've had to come down here and fly around for a little while. But usually by now I've and certainly there have been streams where within 2 hours I've had, 2 or 3 loads back in the hopper. So there is an argument to be made that it's changed, and different people are going to definitely feel different about those changes for sure. Ratherby says, you think they would do something for May the 4th? Be with you? Yeah, you would think they would do something for that. Diogenes says, no, I do not believe we can any longer fill up our hydrogen on planet. Oh, that's interesting. So the outposts no longer have hydrogen fill up? Is that what you're saying, Diogenes? That would be a good thing for me to know. Lil Trucker Darkspear says, I purchased the Gaddock Raylan. Oh, that's a cool ship, Lil Truck. I think that's going to be a fun one. I really like where the SCU is on that one. It's an in-betweener. Iman, nice to see you, Iman. Welcome to the channel tonight. I made a decision and upgraded my starter Titan to the Cutlass Black and really getting quite a bit out of rock mining. Rock mining's in a really good place right now. I mean, that it's a lot of people are going to be shifting to rock mining, and I may be potentially doing some shifting to rock mining, depending on how much time I have to spend locating things to mine. Rock, and I love the rock mining loop. Don't get me wrong; it's definitely nothing wrong with it. But you do have to fly now to every single opportunity marker in order to give yourself an opportunity and a lot of zigzagging along the planet, you know, and so yeah, definitely not quite as efficient as it used to be here on Lyria. And I really think that's kind of the use case that most people are talking about whenever you see anybody kind of, you know, a touch salty or whatever. I think that has to do with it, is that they're definitely finding that things just take a little bit longer. Great Peter says, I think it's like the Halo used to be. Now, yeah, one of the things I will say is hopefully we'll have a chance to head over to the Halo today. I mean, you know, obviously I got about 50% more hydrogen to burn. I'll fly back and, you know, and Steve Dube says, Ella, like he's laughing, rock mining is in a good place. Try the Halo. Well, we're going to go to the Halo for sure. If I can find anything to mine on Lyria first, Steve. So I think if you're catching what I'm putting down with that, you know, I've gone through 50% hydrogen looking around for something to mine here on Lyria before we fly over to the Halo. We'll have to see, you know, hopefully we'll find something on Lyria to mine, and then we'll head over to the Halo. Ratherby says, at this point, the 2% rocks are looking good. Yeah, it's going to be, you know, I probably am not somebody who's going to be spending a whole lot of time looking at 2% rocks, the one thing I will want to begin pushing for is some kind of a tag meta, where you can kind of bring out your scout ships, do some scouting, tag the good things that you find, and go back to them. That's the one thing I will say. Steve Dube says, I spent 3 hours in the Halo and couldn't find a rock bigger than 15%. Yes, Steve, I'm going to look at that today. You're not the only person who's mentioned that to me. Ryan says, RNGesus isn't with you today. Yeah, it's true. RNGesus has definitely not been my friend so far. You know, and it's very rare. Like I said, for those of you who are consistent or watch the stream a lot, you'd know I usually don't burn through 50% hydrogen looking around for rocks to mine, which is a lot of you know, just a lot about what some people have been saying, you know, who have been coming to the channel lately. And we're just kind of doing our best here to... Now, this could be some doublers. I wonder if it is. All right. I could tell that there was an extra rock there. Oh, we'll cross our fingers here, and hopefully there's something here that's worth mining. That's not going to be worth it. That's going to be a 2%er. And this is going to be another 2%er, I believe. You know, and I can tell that just because it's a, you know, kind of a great big optimal window. Yeah, 3.59. And what about this guy here? This is a 4.2%er. So, yep, nothing great there. We'll kind of continue looking and keep our foot on the gas. Oh, S. Foster. Hey, S. Foster, how are you? S. Foster says, seems like the more you've invested, $2 to $5 million ship, the more rewarding or easier it should come, but it's not. I don't necessarily, you know, obviously you do hope that, you know, when you invest time and energy into something that you get some ROI. I think that there's nothing wrong with taking that position, for sure. Pyro says, I found quite a few rocks in the Halo, in big clumps that fill up the prospector once, and sometimes enough for 2 or 3 loads in some cases. Sharp says, take it. No, I'm not taking a 4%er, Sharp. I'm not quite there yet. That's so funny. Steve Dube says, how do you think the mining UI, which is now smaller and hard to see? I like the mining UI. To me is fine. Okay, we're at that. I'm going to look at these 4 opportunity markers, and then we're going to hit an OM, and we're going to come back down here. So, been flying around for a little while. We're at 50% hydrogen, and so that's a single. I'm going to fly over to this guy here and see. I can see one rock there on the side of the hill. Yep, just a single, so that guy's not going to do it for us. We're going to look around a little bit more. As Foster says, been finding 40% plus in grounds on 2 to 30% in Halo. I found 247% last night. We're going to go to the Halo next. I am going to continue on Lyria, at least burn through the rest of this hydrogen, or at least down to, say, 10%. And keep looking. I mean, it's been a long time since I've been skunked on Lyria. And so but we still have quite a bit of hydrogen left, and we will hit an OM. Gravedigger says, well, time to take the Connie and rock to Aberdeen. You know, and so, yeah, sounds like Gravedigger is going to go do a little bit of of rock mining. Love it. Hope they don't disappear on me like they did this morning. Just poofed right out from under me and left me stranded without any extras. Oh, that's not good. I don't like that. I'd like to hear that. They just poofed, huh? Yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and let me just kind of grab the sticks here, and let's just look for an OM marker, just like that guy right there. And we're gonna go up. We're gonna hit it. We're gonna come down at a different place and look around and see if we can do any better. So we kind of, yeah. I mean, you know, the old mining stream is a little dry this particular mining run. My main point was to talk about scanning mechanics today. So we're definitely getting that part of it done, and I spent a lot of time in the beginning kind of talking about what the changes were, and now we're just kind of now we're definitely just kind of looking to see if we can find something to mine. I'll fly right down here to SPAL 16, and we'll just keep looking around, you guys. Pyro says the Halo can have some really spicy rocks. I had some really good finds there recently, and I will head to the Halo next for sure. And then Steve Dube says, I uninstalled Star Citizen yesterday and will wait until they fix the mining. Till then, I'll enjoy looking at YouTube videos. Steve, and I understand. I think you and I kind of spoke a little bit, already. And one of the things I'm definitely going to do is continue to kind of, just dig it out. No pun intended. And try and do my very best to understand kind of how all the scanning works, and definitely acclimate myself to see if there's any workarounds or any kind of way to kind of maybe increase the meta. Obviously looking for any creases, cracks, crevices in a way to see if there's some way to kind of, get a little more out of it. Like I said yesterday about a Terrapin, I am going to try a Constellation Akia. I am going to try a Cutlass Red. Those traditionally have some upgraded scanners. We'll check that out. KSS says, hey, V, I think the mining UI is much more crisp. Now that they obviously got the scaling wrong, but they will need a hot fix, hopefully. I can imagine they intended it to be that small. It is small. I agree. It is small. And I definitely couldn't speak to what their intention was, but I could tell you that I do think it looks a lot crisper, but I agree. It's 100% smaller. Not 100% smaller, but it's a lot smaller than it used to be. Steve Dube is laughing. Pyro says, much easier to see the bar on certain backgrounds. Yeah, absolutely. I'll reposition so the sun, I can use kind of the shadow of the rock that I'm trying to mine. And so, yeah, we have a little bit more hydrogen here, and you can see, well, that's a single. And we'll kind of continue on over this way. Now, we definitely picked kind of a snowy or a kind of a colder part here of the, of Lyria, and that's just fine. I just kind of mentioning it. It looks like we got to kind of cruise over here and get within 1,000 and take a look at this guy. So yeah, the scanning is, definitely, like I said, I think if you've watched some of my streams previously, you know that it's very rare that I burn through 50% hydrogen without being able to locate things this isn't empirical evidence by any stretch of the imagination. I can tell you that there's like a lot of folks have reached out to me and have talked to me about the way scanning is. And yeah, it's just one of those things. We just gotta work the problem, see if there's some other scanning mechanic that will help with it a little bit. And obviously there's a different meta in the Halo than there is on the moon surfaces. And we're going to continue to look at those and see if there's, if we can take advantage of some opportunities. I will be shooting some video in the Terrapin this week, kind of speaking to the issue a little bit. And we'll just kind of keep, we'll use this platform here. We'll use Reddit. We'll use Spectrum. We'll let everybody know, that this is kind of how it used to work and how it works now. And just kind of, try and keep ourselves educated, on whether or not there's any other opportunities to squeeze out some more optimization in this for sure. Julio, welcome to the channel, Julio. Not a name I recognize. Julio says, yo, man, did you have a problem with scanning the rock? Because I cannot see the result from the scan. Now, I haven't had that. On gem icons, you have to get very close. I'm not sure. I haven't stopped and scanned a rock too often. I'm not scanning rocks that are singles. And that's primarily because most of the time they're not going to be Quantanium. Little Trucker says, what field of view are you using? I've been modifying it quite a bit. You know, like right now I've been at 90. I've spent some time at 180 as well. You know, so it just depends. You know, like I've been kind of changing it up and down a little bit. Gray Peter says, is your altimeter working? No, it's not, Gray Peter. My altimeter's not working. Everything is whatever. It's like you know, it's definitely not working. The altimeter, it does work from time to time, but it's not working right now. Steve Dube says, you are right. I've never burned 50% of my fuel before finding a good rock. Now it's a common occurrence. It's definitely a little more taxing to locate these. You've got to fly to every single opportunity marker, and so essentially you're checking singles. I mean, that's basically what you're doing. Now you're not stopping to scan singles. You know, I suppose if you're getting that close to them, maybe you should. I mean, maybe you need to start taking advantage. Now that's going to be gem icons there. When it won't draw a rock icon within 600 or 700, then that's the way it is there for sure. You know, but you know, I suppose if you're going to be starting getting that close to them, you probably, I mean, maybe the meta should change, and you should just basically start going ahead and at least putting the mining laser on it to see if it's, you know, even though it's a single, there are opportunities that singles are Quantanium. So I mean, maybe that's one of the big changes I need to make here myself, you know, if you're going to have to fly to every opportunity marker and check to have it draw at 1100 away, if it's a rock or not, you might as well just at least pull out the laser and at a distance and see if it's a Quantanium single, which is not something you've traditionally done in Lyria. I mean, as everybody's aware, you know, you've traditionally just kind of, if it's more than one rock, see, that's a granite deposit. So that's the one thing I guess that is kind of nice. You know, you can, at least it's telling me pretty quickly what kind of deposit it is, which is, you know, I mean, that's something to think about. And I mean, that may increase my efficiency. See, once again there, as I'm going by that rock that just spawned, I was able to tell that was a granite deposit. So this is, you know, these are the little things that you need to kind of talk your way through and pick up. You know, so I think I'm going to kind of do that for a little while and see, you know, it's obviously it's weird when the box kind of shifts way over to that spot. Let's go ahead and see here. That's a granite deposit, so nothing there. We were moving our way this way. Let's go ahead and we're going to keep looking here. There's some rocks at 4,000 and 5,000 here. And so, yeah, we're definitely spending a little, you know, there's definitely, you know, however, you know, the meta has changed to a point where you definitely have to spend more time looking for rocks. I mean, that's going to be gem icons because we didn't get a rock icon within 1,000. And there's a single over here. If I get out my mining laser, let's kind of... It's a granite deposit. One thing that is cool, I will say, you guys, that's kind of interesting. Watch this. Here, if I kind of, I think straight through the geometry. Now that's different, right? Straight through the geometry, it's telling me if that's a granite deposit. That's not, it used to not do that for sure. I mean, that's clearly on the, if I'm not mistaken, that's clearly on the other side of this hill. You used to have to kind of, you know, that's what I'm saying. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah, that's you know, kind of starting to pick up a little bit, you know, that kind of a thing. Tommy Gunn saying, I usually have the best of luck around wheelers. I mean, I usually have the best luck around the orphanage myself, Tommy. I think all of us have our hot spots around there. I definitely am going to try every place on Lyria to see if one place is better than the other. Probably not so much tonight, but yeah, I mean, now there's a single. So, see, now I would have usually never stopped to look at a single rock, right? But this is a single. It's a 4,000 mass. It's not a great percentage, but that's a rock I would have never kind of ever stopped to look at before, right? Because that's a single. Julio says, it might be Julio, but Julio says, your scanning shows the result. Mine doesn't. Why? I think it's because I use a mining laser. You know, I have the mining laser on the prospector. I don't know if that's the difference or not. It could be. There's some doublers over there. We're going to go and check those out right away. We know those are going to be Quantanium. You know, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I definitely am getting some results, you know, fairly quickly. Now, this is a Quantanium deposit as well, so Not a great rock, though. That's, I can tell right now, just to kind of give you guys a for instance. It's a 5700. That's going to be maybe a 2% or 3% or something. You know, I'll go in and at least get you the scan results here. Keep ourselves honest. I hit it with the laser one time. It's a blue cap. It's a 2%er. Now, right over here, there was some doublers. I seen them there for a second. They're right there. Yep. Lucas Whitehead says, any luck today? Well, we're trying, Lucas, for sure. We haven't had a whole lot of luck yet, but we've got a couple of other more opportunities here. Let's see how we do. This is not a good rock here. S. Foster says, before the patch, you could use signal strength on the left-hand side in scanning mode to tell if the markers had more than 1 or 2 rocks. You sure could do that for sure. The scanning, what was that called? A signal scan. Yep. You could get the signal amounts. Yep. Okay, a couple 4%ers there. We'll keep moving. Daggermore says, hey, how you doing, Dag? Julio says, I use the Argo Mole. I love the Argo Mole. I have the Argo Mole. Sorry, you guys, that I've got, it seems like I've got somebody here in the chat. I don't know if there's a way for me I've never had this before in the chat, so forgive me. Let me see if there's a way for me to block this person. I'm gonna, hide this user on this channel. And I'm going to remove. And I'm going to report. And I am going to say unwanted commercial. I'm reporting on that person. Okay. And so I think that, yes, I've never ever had that before. I guess something's happening. I've never had that before on my stream before, but I did use the tools to hide that user and block that user, and I did it as quick as I could. Thanks for putting up with that, you guys. That's a first for me. I guess I don't know what's going on. Daggermore says, hitting the big time. You have bots now. Yeah, I don't know. That's weird. Darth Matter says, the scanning game has changed. You need to do initial ping to show the boxes, then change the ping angle to put your target to the box and ping again. It will show you the star icons. So the scanning game has changed. You need to do the initial ping to show the boxes. Okay, I got an initial scan. I'm showing boxes. And then change the ping angle to 2. Do you mean this angle? Okay. Put your cross on the target and ping again. And it will show you the star icon. Okay, I wasn't sure about that. Let me do it again. So I've got an opportunity marker. I put my thing right on it. I'm going down to 2. Ping again. And maybe you mean this too. Ping again. Oh, that's interesting. I wonder if this is what you mean. Ah, Chris says maybe it's those nurses. I don't know, Chris. Yeah, this is kind of interesting. I don't know if that's what you meant. Maybe it is. And then I think the other thing that you need to do is kind of pull out your mining laser and look at it and see if that's obsidian. So it's definitely not what you're looking for. So this kind of thing, we just kind of just did an active ping. Now, probably it's because I'm at 2%. All right, so we have there's an icon there. Then we're gonna move it down to 2. Then we're gonna move it into this. Then we're gonna do this. And then it's going to tell us if it's a single rock or not. And, you know, I mean, it's going to draw that anyways. Boy, that's going to be, you know, I could definitely see what you're saying, Darth. There's something there. I probably need to learn it a little more. You know, obviously I think we used to rely a lot on the passive scanning. So this is going to be gem icons, of course, at this distance. And so, yeah, we're going to keep looking. Now, here I need to kind of back this out again. At least 90, maybe. Or potentially 180. And there's some more markers out that way. Yeah, you can ping up to 11 km away. You definitely can get opportunity markers at a distance. There's no question about it. Tommy Gunn says, "Hey, did he say they have the best of these?" Oh yeah, they said something about Tommy. I don't know what they said exactly. Steve Doob says, "Since the patch, 95% of the doubles in the belt are 2% to 8% quant. Buddy of mine spent over 4 hours in the belt and only find one 15%er." I've been here now on Lyria for, I'm around 30% Quantanium, and I've been looking, and like I said, I think if you guys know, if you watch the stream, this is unusual. It is what it is, but it's unusual to kind of have to wait this long. Let me see this. That's an obsidian deposit. I'm going to keep moving along here. Miles Hardim. Miles, welcome to the channel. Not a name I recognize, Miles. Which belt at Steve Dubany? I'm going to definitely be checking out the belt here in a little while. Oh, my goodness. I've got another bot here, you guys. Let me go ahead and take care of that. I'm going to, let's see, hide user on this channel. And then I'm going to report. Yep. And hit OK. And then I'm going to, I think that's all I have to do is just kind of hide it. So that should take care of that again. I'm incurring the wrath of the bots here for, that's fine. I mean, I've never had that before. I mean, hopefully it's not something that becomes a big situation there. This is going to be, that's a nice deposit. Tommy again says, I reported, same person, already deleted. Yep, okay. I definitely did just jump out and did something, I reported that person as well for that type of content. Julio says, can you give me some advice about the module for my Argo Mole? You're scanning so insane. I don't know that I think it's just, unfortunately, the difference is when you're flying around in the mole, you can't get the mining laser out, right? That's the thing. You're using this kind of a scan, which is the V scan. And in order to get results in the V scan, you have to get really close to the rock. So it's unfortunate. Like, you're going to find that you're going to have to nose down fairly significantly if you're just in the pilot's chair of the mole in order to get scan results. It's just one of those things, The reason that I'm getting scan results so quickly, Julio, is because I'm pulling out the mining laser, and I'm in the pilot's chair, and I have access to a mining laser. I definitely think that's probably the difference there. I can imagine that that's making mole mining, now that you mention it, probably significantly more challenging. Tommy again says, Elon should buy YouTube next. That makes me laugh. Steve Dube says, glad you found one toe cutter. Oh boy, I'm finding myself in a restricted area. Okay. We'll kind of fly this way for a sec. Mr. Zai says, Elon should buy Star Citizen. That would be awesome. Lucas Whitehead says, I found your channel the other day because I noticed Lyrian scanning got hit on this patch. It's certainly a significant change. It is a significant change, Lucas, and we're talking about it tonight. Steve Dube says 350 meter in the mole with the V-scan. Yeah, you're getting your mole pretty close to that guy in order to get yourself some love. I mean, obviously soloing in the mole probably, if you're just kind of left to a V-scan, has gotten a lot slower for sure. Which you are, unless you have people on board that can scan. Drizna says, hello, curious about, has the locations for Quantanium changed in 3.17? No, I don't think the locations have changed. There's going to be some doublers right up here, you guys, I'll take a look at. The locations haven't changed, Driz. I mean, they're about the same. Tommy again says, that would be perfect. Diogenes says, yeah, so you see the stars. There are 2 stars that would be a doubler, so you know that it would be good to approach. Yeah, I'm definitely approaching that doubler. I mean, I definitely mined on Lyria for a long time, you guys. And I definitely am incredibly familiar with the meta. That's an 8%er, not a great rock. Crossing our fingers here. That's a 2400 mass and a terrible percentage. So 2%er there. So we're going to keep on moving. Miles Hardim. Oh, Michael Kraus. Welcome to the channel, Michael. How you doing this evening? says, I found a few 7K 40% Q rocks on Lyria single rocks this morning. Halo has been terrible. Michael, my intent was to come to Lyria, mine one nice rock, hopefully if I could find one, and then head to the air in Halo. And I'm about 30% hydrogen now. I haven't found anything to mine yet. I'm still looking around. Of course, that's not empirical evidence, but you definitely have a lot of streams, and I don't know that I've ever kind of gone so cold. This is a Quantanium single here. We're going to look at it. It's a 5766. Not a great percentage, though. This is going to end up being like a... have to hit it with the laser in order to get it to complete the scan. And this is going to be like a 3 or 4%, 2%er. Yep, exactly. We're going to keep moving. Drisden says, cool, thanks for the info. Yeah, definitely the places are still the same. It's just definitely the scanning meta is, you know, fairly different. I mean, it's definitely different. You've got to kind of approach every opportunity marker, pull out your mining laser, look at even singles, and then, you know, and keep looking. Tommy says, I think the space break has changed. Yeah, Tommy, that's in the settings. You have to set it to use boost. It just cleared it out. At some point, you would have already set that. There's a setting for that. I can't remember exactly where it is. It's just so you know, it's in like controls and boy, I can't remember. Maybe it's key bindings. It's in controls. I don't remember. 14 will, you know, Mr. Zai, will you help? You have to map the boost to break. I did it the other day and I forget where it was, but they'll help you in the channel with that for sure. I know that they will. Yeah, it's in the options. It's something you have to turn on, Tommy, for sure. Miles Harding says, was hoping we would get like 10 to 15K mass rocks that require. Miles, I've been calling those for a long time. I know exactly what you mean. I'd love to see that 13K mass rock that required. That would be so awesome if we got that 13K mass rock that required a mole. I would love that. Thank you, Mr. I said he'll find it. Thanks for. I really appreciate that. Yeah, we're going over this guy. Let's at least get a. It's a nice deposit, okay? And we'll kind of. You know, it's almost heck. You might well just keep the mining laser out. I'm so used to not flying around with it out, but it's probably not a bad idea, all things considered. You know, I'm moving it in and out so much. Diogenes says, well, I just failed mining the 7K in my mole. Yeah, that can be difficult for sure, even with gadgets. There was a balance pass on those right before they kind of went live, and they're not as good. Here's a couple of Quantanium rocks. This is a 5800 mass, pretty good mass. Definitely hoping that it's going to have some... Nope, that's not going to be a great percentage. That's probably going to be something like a 2%er or something along those lines. It's going to be a blue cap for sure. Go down there and we'll tap it with our laser and, you know, keep it honest. It's under key bindings and the advanced controls buttons, bottom left. Yep, it's used. Yeah, oh yeah, that's right. It's in the advanced controls. That's exactly right. Let me kind of, yep, that's exactly where it is. This is not going to be a good percentage either, you guys. It's going to be like a 9%er. So, yep, if you go there, I forgot, that's right. If you go here, you go to options. It is under advanced controls. Let me go to game settings. I can't remember. It's here in game settings, right? Under, I think there's like a down here, maybe there's advanced controls. Can't remember exactly. I know I said it for sure. Am I missing advanced controls here somewhere? It seems like it was. Space brake engages boost. Yep. So it's just it's right on that first thing. It's in flight. Space brake engage boost. That has to be set to yes. It's right there in game settings. So, you know, if you just kind of hit escape, you go to options, it's in game settings, just scroll down, and you go to flight, and you see these flight and space brake engage boost. That's where you set it. I should have remembered that. Sorry, you guys. Appreciate you hanging in there while I was kind of looking for that. For somebody asked, and I like to answer questions like that for sure. you have to radar V angle and ping angle. Don't minimize the V scan angle. Try and flight view. Don't change the V scan. Cross cursor to box. Change angle to ping. Darth, I'm just going to have to find a video on that. I definitely am not kind of picking up what you're putting down. So if I go to the V scan and ping angle, I mean, there's this kind of angle and there's this kind of angle. And I'm not exactly sure which one it is. Oh boy, I've got this guy again here. So I'm going to, unfortunately have to hide user on the channel, and then report and put pornography. Report, okay. Yeah, I've never had that problem before, you guys, but I guess, hey, maybe there's probably a threshold. I've never also had such a good turnout on the channel, so it's great. Let me do that. I bet you I can do that. Let's see here. Add moderator. All right. Yeah, 14. I gave you moderator privileges. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. And we will definitely keep looking here. And so, yeah, it's one of those things where I'm getting kind of low on hydrogen. We're going to keep looking at these opportunity markers. And I definitely will be checking out some videos and looking to see if anybody, to see exactly, what Darth Matter's talking. I know that there's probably something I'm missing, potentially with it, and I hope that that's the case. It's obviously, here's some doublers here. Let me go ahead and slow down. And, Sharp says Jack gets the same bot. Yeah, fair enough. Now there's a 7647. Pretty good mass on that guy right there. Not a good rock though, nonetheless. This is going to be like a 2%er. Yep, and then this guy here, 3728 mass. This is probably going to be like a 9%er or something. 7.11. Yep, not a good mass. So we're going to keep on moving. Darth Matter, I figured out what you mean. Stars equals deposits. I can definitely. So Retherby is asking if I fly with joysticks. I do fly mouse and keyboard when I mine. Whenever I'm flying around doing other things, I grab the sticks. Like if I'm on my way back to the station or leaving the station, I grab the sticks. But I do use mouse and keyboard when I'm doing mining, Retherby. And so Lucas Whitehead says you can see the amount of rocks without flying up. Interesting. Tommy Gunn says, yeah, I have a very clicky keyboard, Tommy. You're absolutely right about that. Ramoyne, how are you, Ramoyne? Sorry, I haven't, I noticed you a little earlier, and I meant to say something to you, and I missed you. So I've noticed that frame rates across the game in 3.7 are fairly inconsistent, even within locales like New Babbage, Lorville, Area 18, and Orson. Yeah, I definitely understand what you're saying. And part of it has to do with who else is in the game, what are they currently streaming. There's really a lot of connected facets to it, I think, Ramoyne, for sure. But I've had, very good success where I've gotten like 70 or 80 FPS in Area 18 too. So definitely one of those things. I think this is going to be some doublers up here, you guys. So let's cross our fingers, and as we kind of come up here and look. I haven't gotten the, okay, yep. Now this is going to be a decent rock, maybe, 45, 20%er. Not great, but I think we'll probably go ahead and mine that. This is a 40-20. 45-20. So this is not a, this is going to be, if I'm not mistaken, probably around, maybe 18 SCU. Let me go ahead and see if I can punch this into QuantCalc if I have it handy. Not a great rock, but the best one I found. So we're going to go ahead and mine this because we want to get over to the Halo tonight too, for sure. And we'll go ahead and mine this guy. But let me go ahead and pop this into QuantCalc. I mean, basically 2 times 8 is, is 16, and then there's a little bit more in there. So this is probably, this is probably going to be in the neighborhood of, right around 20 SCU. Not a great rock, but not a rock that we turn down here on the mining channel too much. Oh, Darth Vader says, give a look at Sniping Jet YouTube video. I will check that out, Darth, for sure. Michael Krause says, 3 trips for me today on the area was just 10 to 15 minutes to find good stuff. Could have been even better, but I had no gadgets or modules, bigger rocks, hopefully just... Yeah, Michael, I'm really happy that that's good to hear. I have been out here probably for... in the neighborhood of probably about 80% of my hydrogen, and I haven't been that good. But of course, it's not empirical evidence. That happens, and that's okay. It definitely is. I really wanted to chat about the scanning mechanics today. Yeah, this is 18.3 SCU. So it was just a kind of a curiosity of mine how much SCU is in here. But we'll go ahead and get this, and hopefully it breaks semi-clean, and we can at least come away with 15 SCU or so. And then I want to get over to the Halo anyways, why we talk tonight. Shamari, welcome to the channel, Shamari. Not a name I recognize. Hello, I used to play with a MilSim organization, and now looking for people to play with in this new patch. Yeah, Shamari, we do have a link in the channel there for Spectrefleet.space, and you can come check us out. Absolutely, we're always looking for new people to join. Steve Doob says, better than nothing, considering you'll have to go and refuel. I do have to go and refuel at some point, and so, I've always had this rule as a miner. Anything more than 15 SCU for the most part, I mean... but it's more closer to 17 SCU. I stop and mine regardless. So this isn't. This is definitely not necessarily a use case that I haven't done this before. Steve, Lucas White says found a quant deposit from 10K away using that method. You can definitely see the opportunity markers at that distance for sure. Tookus, how you doing, Tookus? Nice to see you. Tookus says, hey, how's it all going tonight? And of course, thank you, Mr. Zeiss. It's going great. That's awesome. Lucas Whitehead says, just found a patch of 9, first one this patch. There you go. Love those clusters for sure. The only thing, listen, you guys, if it's a little harder to find Quantanium, it just means that ringing that Unibell is a little bit more, it makes it a little bit more special. And we're mining on this channel regardless. This is what we do. For sure, and I'll do some rock mining and I'll do some hand mining. It's not always about pure profit for me, but I definitely wanted to acknowledge that people are talking, and I wanted to make sure that the people who are talking, I wanted you to know I hear what you're saying. The people who come to my channel, who come talk mining theory crafting to me, I wanted to make sure that, you definitely know that your voice is being heard. At the very least here on my channel you are. And I'm definitely going to be doing a lot of testing, and I'm going to be looking into... Darth Matters, has said that, hey, look at this. There's probably a better way, and I'm definitely going to be looking into that better way, and I'm going to be making sure that I'm reporting that better way to you guys. So, if I will definitely check out that. I will definitely check out that video that was suggested, and we'll do whatever we can to improve. Mining is one of those things where if the meta's changed a little bit, I need to learn that and I need to share it with you guys. So that's the way that it goes. And so 20% minimum, I can understand that. That's a 30%er there in that guy. There's nothing wrong with the 20% minimum. I think that's a good thing. This is a big purple here. What kind of a break did we get on that? We got no Quantanium in that big old purple. This is probably going to be fairly okay. Yep, that's another 26% there. And this is going to have a percentage in it as well. So 38%. Now there's another big piece underneath there. A big chunk kind of impacted down there. That's got nothing in it, that one there, and and that piece is somewhat impacted as well. So really, I think it's basically this piece, and this piece is going to have most of what I'm looking for. So the good news is with that is we can kind of pivot around here. We can kind of get our prep our brants, and just kind of try and break 2 of these with 1 brant, and then just kind of try and keep it on us for sure. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and do this breaking. Now, after we get done breaking this thing for sure, we're going to head to the Aaron Halo and look at the scanning mechanics there. That was the goal today, was the chat scanning mechanics overall. And obviously we're going to try and, break these as cleanly as possible here. Which is why I'm a guy who likes to stock up on brants, Brants, I think, do such a good job at kind of evening the stuff out. And getting a little bit in the hopper is better than nothing in the hopper at all, for sure. So, you know, that's for sure. So, all right, we got that guy broke. I'm moving on to this one here. Kind of my goal is to try and get to, I'm at 45. One of my kind of things that I try to do is I try to get the Brant up into the green before 30. I kind of turned it down 33. I did make it in before 30, so if it doesn't fall out, I should be able to break 2 rocks, 1 Brant. That's kind of a little mini game I more or less play just to try and conserve the consumables when I've got a pretty good clear look at what both are doing there. And so yeah, I'm kind of Drakey Phoenix. Welcome to the channel. Not a name I recognize. Just tuned in to seeing your comment on Starstream's video about the new scanning changes. Yeah, you know, we're out here doing a little bit of testing today, Drake. Yeah, I appreciate that. You know, of course, Starstreams and I do. You know, we've stopped in on each other's streams a little bit. I really like the way that he does his ROC mining stuff, as you can imagine, and yeah, I know that ROC mining is definitely in a different place than the prospecting mining is, for sure. You know, a lot of the people on my channel have been kind of just a little concerned about the scanning mechanics. And so, but you know, obviously there have been, you know, the one thing I'm over the moon about is with the ROC mining is the extraction bug is gone. I love ROC mining. I'm happy that it's that game loop is gotten some life. It definitely needed it, and so here goes my hydrogen down to 25%. It's been a long time since my prospectors had been at 25% hydrogen. It took me a long time to find this 20% rock today, you guys. It is what it is. Shamari says, this is an interesting to watch since I've been playing since 2.6 and know nothing about mining. That's fantastic, Shamari. You know, if you come back and if you want to learn anything about mining, this would be a good place to do it, especially prospecting and mole mining and that type of thing. We definitely do lots of that stuff here. Here's another decent rock. It's going to have some percentages in it. We're going to go ahead and break this guy down. Couldn't see this guy at first, but as these other rocks broke away. So let's take a look at the Brant. I'm not going to make my 30 rule, but I'm going to try and push it up pretty hot, pretty fast. It's down 25, 24, 20. Okay, I'm starting to slide it in there now. I want to kind of roll it back. I don't want it to get too crazy. All right, I'm at a 15% or so. I got about 10 seconds left on the Brant. I'm going to try and hold it in there without necessarily ordering a new one. You know, or firing a new one. But if it starts swinging pretty wildly, which it will now that the Brant is coming to an end, it's one of those things where I got to kind of keep my eye on it. It could fall out pretty quickly, or it could absolutely scale up pretty quickly. I've got to be able to react to both those situations. Good break. All right, so we definitely got those things broken down now pretty clean. I think that there is one big piece of yellow down there. So let's go ahead and just start. We'll kind of go to extraction mode and just go bottom to top. Now, there's going to be a lot of... We're not going to have a ton of 100%ers in here. We're going to have some, you know, but there's definitely, with a 20%er, there's going to be a lot of mixed... That's a 68. You know, there's going to be a lot of mixed percentages in here, and that's just going to be kind of the way that it is. Now, yep, that's a 0.37, so that actually broke a little cleaner. You know, this could be a pretty good percentage then. An 82. We're gonna have some wiggle room here, but there's a hundo. We're gonna grab any hundo that we can grab first, for sure. That's what we're looking. You obviously want to grab your best percentages first, and really becomes much more critical when you are in a spot. This is not gonna have this. I think I've already looked at this guy. If you recall, there was nothing in it. So we're just kind of going from bottom to top. We're looking for anything that's got 100% or better in it. You know, or that's you know, anything that's anything that's north of 85 or something, I probably would just go ahead and scoop. There's another hundo. We'll grab that. Yep, for sure. Beautiful. And yeah, we're gonna go ahead and that's got nothing in it, so kind of trying to stay as honest as possible here. We're gonna keep moving forward. That's a 67. We've got a couple of those now, and we're going to be coming back and scooping up that stuff for sure. We're just trying to get the purest percentages on board first. That's basically our goal. And then we're going to head in. We are going to head to Arc L1. We're going to put this guy in the hopper. We're going to head over to to the Air and Halo, and we are going to hit that guy. So 46%er there. It looks like this is kind of our last scan. We're going to kind of come back through, and we are going to, that's 100% quartz. So we're going to scoop a lot of the stuff that wasn't that great now. Yep, the 68%er would definitely be next on the list. Scoop her up! That's what Steve says. That's it. We're not grabbing that 0.37. I mean, maybe at the very end I would do that one. That's 100% quartz. This 111 here, what do we got? This is 100% quartz. There's a 67% Quantanium. We'll grab that guy. The most we could have done is around 20% Quantanium in this guy, and our 18 SCU in this guy anyways. What do we have here? Oh, there's a hundo. That was tucked away down there pretty tightly. We'll go ahead and scoop that guy. And happy to have him. Now that guy just fell on top of this other little guy down here. Let me see if I can get a... There's another one down there. I'll have to come back to that in a sec. That's nothing. Let's go ahead and check this guy out. That's nothing, I think. Yep. There's an 82%er. So we're up over 13. I think there's some right there. 46%er. And let's take a look at this chunk right here. 100% quartz. A lot of... What about this guy here? That was nothing there. No, this piece here, it didn't have anything in it. I think this was nothing too. So yeah, I gotta pull this piece of trash off of here. Don't like to, but I definitely need to pull it off because I need to get after... There's a rock down here that had some in it, I think. 100% quartz. Okay. Alright, we're still looking for stuff to mine here. 14 SCU, nothing there. Once again, we're kind of at 0.37 starting to look juicy, you guys. Some of it looks like it might have fell underneath the surface here. I am going to pull away. I'll pull away this guy here to see if there's something underneath. Probably not. Boy, it's been a long time since we flew 14 SCU into the old hopper. But that is nothing. The some of it must have broke away and fell away underneath. And I don't think this is anything up here either. Yeah, well, that's it. That's us. We will go ahead and as you know, like I said, anybody who watches the channel on a regular basis knows that we usually do real well at this, but you know what? We're going to take what we're kind of coming out here today to discuss more scanning mechanics. Obviously hoping to do a little better in that, but we are going to head to the Air and Halo after this, and it's definitely something that I needed. We want to check out that scanning meta as well, and so that's what we're going to do. We're going to head over to the Air and Halo now that we have scooped our 14 SCU of Quantanium, and move on. So I think this is kind of like, as you know, I do this a lot. And so I think this is a lot of what some people are talking about, right? Now, it's not a perfect example. It looks like I'm going to get, I got interdicted there, so no big deal. I'm just going to I'm going to gun my ship, and I am going to move forward. I'm going to try and get myself out of this situation if I can. My QT system is jammed for now. I am trying to get myself kind of out of this situation. And I am going to go ahead and punch it now. And I managed to get out of that interdiction there. So that's, those are kind of par for the course or whatever. Can't wait to see you mine in the Halo. I've only mined Planet Side so far, so I don't know how different the gameplay is. Yeah, I'm going to go check out the Halo right now. So, going with 14 and the bridge crew, we'll be asking if you face planted into another station. That's exactly right. The other night, you guys, for the first time in months, I crashed into the station as I was looking at the chat and got a little over my skis. And so, Steve Dew says if he snares you, you're done. I managed to get away there. I'll take it, and we'll... I use boost. I obviously I have been quantum interdicted a time or two, and fortunately was able to kind of just use boost and gun it and break free there, and we'll obviously the mantises can bring you out of quantum. They do need something like a blue, or I think maybe the warlock. 14 is at the warlock. One of them can lock you down a little bit too. Gray Peter says Ramon, I haven't been to a planet yet in 317, so it remains to be seen how it is on Arcal 1. And some people have come into the channel and said, hey, on Arcal 1, I did okay today. My experience today was Arcal 1 wasn't quite as consistent as it normally is, and that's okay. Black Norton, welcome to the channel. NPC QT is easy to get away from. I agree with that, Black. No, 100%. They're not too difficult to get away from. We just kind of, just kind of put our foot on the gas and drove off. Steve Dube says, he's laughing, says, I've done that, ran into the station. Yes, I definitely did that. It was Friday night, of course, the inaugural 3.17, and I definitely just crashed into the station, just kind of, and I've done that before. It's, everybody who flies in Star Citizen eventually is going to fly into a station, but boy, that was, somebody else earlier had asked about, setting the, boost to the brake, and I hadn't set that yet. Yes, the Cutlass Blue and the RSI Mantis, those are the things that can kind of, that can actually kind of quantum interdict you. And then there's, the blue can kind of lock you down. That's the thing. The blue can actually, within a certain distance, can keep you from going back into quantum, and the Mantis, those are, it's a difficult situation that you can get yourself into. So, all right, well, we're bringing this guy in. It wasn't a ton of Quantanium, but that's, we really did... earlier in the stream, I was very much able to describe kind of the difference in the scanning mechanics, and I really do think that it's going to pay some dividends. Kind of the understanding. X-Cross, nice to see how. So it seems that Rock is working much better now that the HUD is easier. It's hard to read. Why do they fix one thing and break another? I guess I don't know. I mean, I guess I haven't seen exactly. I know that it's the UI building blocks thing is a thing. I'm going to go ahead and drop the gear, drop the VTOL. I'm going to creep on in here if I can, so I do not crash into the station. We haven't heard first alarm yet. I've got 14 SEU of Quantanium on board, which is nothing to be too proud of here on the old mining channel. We normally bring in, do a little better than that, as you guys know, but we'll take it. We're happy to put anything in the hopper we can. Yeah, we'll just kind of bring this guy in and get our ship kind of topped back off. That's first alarm just going off there. I just want to make sure we bring this in nice and easy. No funny business. Down we go. And we're going to do a little post-flight here. This is definitely something we need to do. We need to do all this stuff here. I will turn the engines off. I will go ahead and back out of the chair. I can hear the familiar sound of the refueling. I believe. I don't know if I hear the refueling or not. Usually I do, but I'm not sure I hear it there. Ramon says, that's the first time I witnessed a quantum interdiction. Glad you managed to outrun whatever is supposed to happen next. Yeah, well, what was supposed to happen next is the guy was going to shoot me to death. So, Walter says, yeah, buddy mine. Walter's 218, by the way. Welcome to the channel. Not a name I recognize. Yeah, buddy of mine, been trying to scan on the mole, having terrible time with it. No question about it, Walters. We're going to head to the air and Halo, and we're going to test the scanning mechanics there next. Oh, man, I don't know if you noticed that, but I just did get pegged by the physicalized part of the... Now, this icon here right there can be... It's interesting that I see that. A lot of times that means the ship is going to be in claim, I've noticed. So I may have to go back up to the pad and actually, fly it onto a different pad. So it's going to be interesting to see. It may not be, but I have seen in the past where that icon can mean the ship will want to claim here instead of store. So let's just go ahead and see if that's what's happening. Nope, it's in store. That's good. So we'll go ahead and store it, and we'll go down and put the stuff in the hopper that we have. And then what we will do is we will head down. We'll head over to the Air and Halo and definitely do some scanning over that way. That was my big goal today, was to do a couple of different scanning runs. More, obviously, if I find 40, if I find 40 40s, man, I'm mining them. But, you could, I definitely, it definitely was a little bit of a slower boat on Lyria today. And that's, that's how it was. Cyber, Spooky, Cyber, welcome tonight. How are you, sir? Nice to see you. Done an hour in the Halo last night, and the highest quant I found was a 5122 at 5%. Decided to go hauling it with my M2 and got interdicted on the first jump, hit boost, and just outrun them. Boy, Cyber Spooky, that sounds like a night right there. We're going to go try the Halo ourselves for the first time. Tuka says, looking at buying the Mole next, but I'd be solo. Excited to see the Halo. Never mind there. We're definitely going to head over to the Halo and take a look and see how things are going for sure. And yeah, we're just going to throw this into the hopper here first, clear out the old prospector, and then we're going to head over there for sure and do a little bit of looking at how things are going, scanning mechanic wise over there, and see how it goes. We're just going to kind of cross our fingers and hope that we can find something to put the mining lasers on there a little faster than we found something in Lyria tonight. So we'll go ahead and begin this. Now, I do have a couple of orders done. Those are orders that I did find on Lyria. So boy, it's been a while since I've that was a pretty not a great run, but still 13398 units. I mean, that's still, you guys, 120,000 SEU. So it's not terrible, you know what I mean? Obviously, we usually do a little better than that. We'll take it. And we'll just kind of and keep moving. So we probably got 65 SCU, 70 SCU in the hopper, and that's nothing, nothing to sneeze at, as I like to say on the channel here. A lot of people have just kind of teased me. I wouldn't say it's it's in good nature, but tease me about nothing to sneeze at. Something I say from time to time. I do get a little from time to time when some of my org members they're like, "Hey man, that's nothing to sneeze at." Like I know that they're teasing me a little bit, and it always makes me laugh because I'm guilty of it for sure. A lot of ums, a lot of you know what I mean? It's just one of those things that happens when I stream. Gray Peter says at Remoyne, I have 32 gig. Maybe that's why. Upgrade the CPU a month or two after that, and then finally the GPU, and I can find one at a decent, affordable price. Yeah, I mean, upgrades, sometimes it's nice to just kind of one thing at a time. Black Norton says, do you use Cornerstone to get your distances in the belt? Not always, Black. I usually know kind of where I want to drop out from Arc L1. So let me do let me do this really quickly. I definitely want to do a pre-flight on the prospector. And we will just make sure that this is exactly why we do that pre-flight, so we can kind of throw these brands on here. I will go ahead and save that, and we'll go ahead and pull the prospector, and we will head over to the Air and Halo and look at the scanning mechanics there. So, awesome. Let's go ahead and retrieve the prospector here. The specific band, I haven't spent as much time kind of hitting the specific band. I definitely know I'm in band 5 if I drop out at the right place. It's very thick with rocks and big rocks. And so I just happen to kind of know where to drop out. I think it's in band. I actually think it's in the good, whichever band is the highest, the biggest amount Cornerstone says. It's got big rocks in it. But we'll see. I mean, a lot of times I stare at the chat and I miss it by a little bit. So we'll try not to do that, Black, tonight. And you can look and see if you can help me tell which band I'm in for sure. Tuka says, Remoyne, keep in mind your PC is recompiling shader into info after the patch. Some places may be pretty jumpy till it's done. I don't disagree with that. And Steve Dub says, if you want the densest part of the Halo belt to CRUL3, stop at 14,003. Yeah, there's definitely lots of start here and stop here's. I'm actually going to head towards HURL3, I think it is. and then I'm going to drop out at 7.7. That's my goal anyways. Bubba Bubble Plays. How are you doing, Bubble? Haven't seen that name in a little while. Hey, man, what do you think of the new update? I like lots of it. I still think there's, we've been talking a lot about the scanning changes to mining. And I think that's, there's a mining, I think ultimately if I were to kind of I think it's going to be a touch slower. I don't think that there's, if I were to guess, that's exactly, it's HURL5. So that's where I'm going to head towards. I think it's going to be a touch slower overall on prospector or mole mining than it used to be. That doesn't necessarily mean that's bad or whatever. But that's, if I were to guess overall, I think we've definitely seen a touch of a slowdown. Now that's interesting. Let me just make sure that we're good there. I must have.
Thank you, and please visit again.
Yep, we're gonna head towards there, and we're gonna drop out at 7.7. I do want to clear the station. It's just, I don't think you have to, but it's one of those things I like to do. Just kind of clear the station before we kind of spool up and go. And we'll drop out of here at 7.7. Ninja Slap says, "Hey, what's up? How you doing, Ninja? Nice to see you." And Drakey Phoenix says, "Why is your HUD so far away from your face?" Drake, I think it has to do with the fact that I have my monitor's capable of 5120 by 1440, and my field of view has been modified a little bit because of that, I think. But the new UI is also has a little bit to do with it as well. So we're gonna watch here. I'm gonna try and drop out at. It seems like it's 7.7 where I want to drop out. So between 7.8 in that area. Geesley says, "Hey man, after watching you last week, I ran my prospector instead of the mole all day today. Great fun. I forgot how chill it was. The prospector is great, Geesley. I mean, it's easy peasy lemon squeezy for sure." Steve Dube says it's much sharper for old farts. Yeah, I'm right with you. I'm there with you, Steve, for sure. Black Norton says it's displayed on his curved windshield. Yeah, that's exactly right. And so we are just kind of keep watching here. It seems like it's 7. It's either 8.8 or 7. I'm gonna drop out at 7. We're gonna go. I think it's a 7 point something, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it was an 8 point. Let's see. 7.8, right in here. This is where I usually drop out in this area. First thing I do is I kind of always go back to ArcL1. Now I'll definitely kind of spool up. I like to be about 5.2 or so from ArcL1, but you can see here how dense the halo is. I'm probably not in the best possible place. I'm a little off my mark. I normally would be, I try to be around 5.2 from here. It's not going bad, Ninja, at all. Ninja's asking how it's going. Andrea says, "For me, the QT is way more worse, but the mining UI is much better." Yeah, I mean, there's trade-offs for sure. Some things are better, some things are worse, for sure. Steve Dub says, "I run 3840 by 1080 max graphics, so the UI is usually hard to read." Yeah, for sure. So here we are in the Aaron Halo, you guys, and I'm going to kind of, we're just going to kind of, I'm going to kind of switch back over to my mouse and keyboard here, and we are just going to begin kind of, I'm going to do it. You can see there's lots of opportunity markers when I have it at 360. So we're going to kind of retab here. I do, obviously I'm going to just start flying in. I am going to V-scan here. Let me see if I get any kind of, I'm going to kind of monkey around here. Now, I have not been in a Halo since the patch has gone live. I did a lot of testing with the patch in 3.17 PTU. But one of the things here that's not great is, we're not actually, this opportunity marker is not specifically on the rock, right? So it's not, the rock is not exactly where the opportunity marker is. So you're not going to necessarily see the scan until you kind of get kind of close here. So, I'm going to kind of, keep flying towards this guy. We're 3,000 away. We still don't know what we're kind of dealing with. Now now with the ping out, I did see that we were kind of, there was a couple of rocks here, so we're going to go ahead and scan those. And really, I think it's almost the smartest thing to do. It makes me wonder. Now, there are unscannable rocks still here for sure. But let's just kind of go in and see if we can. Now, one thing that you definitely don't want to be doing is flying right at rocks, you guys. Now this is Quantanium. I can see the marbling. But I definitely am... These are going to end up being dead rocks, I think. I'm not getting any kind of a hitbox on them at all. I will kind of toggle this on and off. So the first rocks I ran across were definitely Quantanium. Just some doublers. Kind of got lucky. But unfortunately, I'm not having any luck getting them to scan. And so... I will kind of... I'm definitely... You know, here in a V-scan too, you can see that there's just not... I get no outlines or anything. These are just going to be dead rocks. I mean, this is just... hey, Colton Hill. Nice to see you tonight, Colton. How you doing? Andrea says, haven't been mining so far in 3.17. Currently doing deliveries to steal all the water and snack house. I'm going to do that one time, Andreas, as well. Like, just kind of take the M2 around and just load up on waters and stuff. Just, I probably will stream that. That'll be something fun. For sure. But you can see here, I'm not getting any kind of nothing here. I'm hitting it. And this is a traditional thing. This is not new in 3.17. There are dead rocks in the Aaron Halo. And I think that these are kind of that traditional dead rock. So you're dealing with the traditional dead rock, but then you also have the scanning meta as well that you have to deal with. So once again, we're going to kind of hit, we're going to keep moving. Now, one thing that I like to do, you guys, is I do like to have Arc L1 on my nose to the 12 o'clock position, and I'll keep flying towards that. So Steve Dubs is saying 50% of the rocks are unscannable in the belt. Well, you know, that was definitely a couple of Quantanium rocks, and we'll go ahead and see what happens. See if I get that, you know, I mean, you know, that's what we're here for tonight, you guys, is to kind of test this and see what happens. And I, you know, it's funny because I knew that Lyria, of course, is a little slower. I definitely knew the more egregious scanning issue was going to come at the Aaron Halo. Definitely a lot of people have told me that the Aaron Halo is not scanning well. So that's, you know, it looks like I did have a rock icon pop. Let me go ahead and just kind of get the mining laser out. That is just an asteroid M type. I'll tell you, you almost just want to kind of keep the mining laser out. I know that you know, in a V-scan situation here, I still don't see the rocks. Let me kind of tilt in. Yep, I had to be 1,000 away, and it's a P type. But man, you know, that's already kind of going pretty hot there by the time it drew. So it can be, yeah, it could, if you're going pretty fast, it could be, ooh, boy, that may not work out great. So, yeah, anyways, this is my first trip to the Halo since 3.17 dropped. I did do some testing in 3.17. And I definitely am, you know, just kind of cruising along here. I can see the rocks right there. They're going to pop up as icons. This is a cluster, actually. Oh, wow. Interesting. So these are M types. These are not going to be Quantanium, although the rock is scanning. Now, in order to get scan results, I'm probably going to have to be pretty close. See, I'm definitely not getting a great, like with this rock here. Now I'm going to kind of get a little closer to it. It's going to follow that same thing. Earlier I was showing you guys with the gems how close I had to get in order for it to show me on the you know, to give me the final scan results. So I got a hi, what are you up to? We're just out here testing our scanning mechanics in the Aaron Halo. That's what we're up to. They also disappeared about 5,000 and then reappear. So yeah, this is a fest tonight. And so, you know, I knew that this wasn't necessarily Quantanium rocks because putting the mining laser on it told me that. But anyways, yeah, this is very interesting. So this is our next opportunity marker. We're going to keep flying towards that. I've got a pretty narrow, a 45 degree. I'm probably going to keep that at least around 90. Ramoyne says, well, Michael Krause says, today spent about an hour in the belt, found nothing, but found stuff around HUR3, so something may have changed. Yeah, and that's what we're out here just testing, Michael, for sure. Did something change? That's the big thing, you know. It's a great question, and and it's great. I mean, I do appreciate that everybody's kind of stopped in. Now there are rocks out here, and I'm flying towards them, but there's no rock icons. I mean, I can see it right there. I literally can see it flying towards me. It's going to appear right there. I mean, I don't want to fly right towards it, but I can see it right there. I mean, it kind of reminds me a little bit of the old days. Now, if I have this thing out, this is a P-type. I almost think that the best thing to do is to fly with the mining laser out. I mean, that's kind of what I was finding as well in Lyria. It's like that's going to be the quickest way to tell is going to be able to put the mining laser on it. Now, the one thing you've got to be really careful about is these things can show up. I mean, if you're just gunning it here, I mean, it can show up pretty quickly. Now, because I'm active pinging on my way in, I could see where kind of the circle icon was. And I could tell that's Quantanium right there as well. But it's definitely another dead rock. That's 100% a dead rock. So we'll fly up next to it just to be sure. So this is the third Quantanium rock I found since getting to the halo here. Of course, somewhat dangerous to fly close to these guys, but just to show you guys the marbling in it. This is definitely a Quantanium rock. And definitely I've looked at 3 Quantanium rocks and all 3 of them have been unscannable. So that's they've been dead rocks for sure. So just something to once again, I really want you guys to know I'm not angry about this, or I'm really just trying to show the meta. I'm not salty. I can understand why people would be salty about this. I'm here just to kind of I love mining in Star Citizen. I want to do my best to kind of understand what people have been saying, and that's why I'm out here to look at this stuff. Conrad Borowski, welcome to the channel. Conrad says, I can't seem to be able to load into the game. New player, I select server load, 6 to 8 minutes, crashes back to launcher. Try changing your eye color or something like that, Conrad. Do that, change your eye color, or do a character reset. That's another thing. But I would start with maybe trying the EU servers or the AUS servers and changing your eye color before that. Something along those lines, and seeing if that helps, sir. And thank you for asking on the channel. We definitely want to help with stuff like that for sure. Yeah, here's another rock icon. I can see it there. And we're moving around towards it. And yeah, this is definitely going to be another dead rock. 100% dead for sure. I don't see the orange marbling on that one, so I don't think that this one's per se Quantanium. But we'll just keep on moving, one of those things for sure. And yeah, we're just kind of, so this is what people I think have been talking about, right? You kind of have your old school meta that you have dead rocks, but then you have a lot, it's an egregious amount of dead rocks. And then you also, that coupled with the fact that you have to get so close to them to determine what it is that they are. And it's actually somewhat dangerous too. I mean, quite honest, I'm scooching. If you don't see a rock icon until you're 1,000 away, you definitely are not sure if, and that's an M type, so we'll just keep moving because we're looking for Quantanium. So our next opportunity is up here. It's a 10.5. We'll fly over towards this guy. And so, yeah, I definitely understand what people are saying. I found 3 Quantanium rocks so far. None of them have been scannable. And I am looking for something to put the mining lasers on here. And I will get a white outline to draw somewhere around 5,000 or 4,000 here. If I keep kind of active pinging. I can actually see the rockets right there. But, I'm having to fly very close to it before we're getting any kind of a... This is a P-type. So definitely not what we're looking for. And we'll just keep on going. This is the next opportunity marker over here. For sure. And so, yeah, this is kind of what a lot of people in my community have been talking about. And a lot of people have come to me and said, hey V, did you know that this is happening? And, I know that when I tested this in 3.17, PTU. I don't recall it exactly being this meta. You know, I will say the couple of times I went to the Iron Halo, I didn't have a bunch of unscannable rocks. But I've had so many people tell me, man, there's a lot of unscannable rocks. And so I think so far, you know, we've definitely, a lot of the opportunity markers we've stopped at have been kind of, you know, unscannable. And the other side of it is that, you know, like I said, it's, you know, it's dangerous in space when you're flying along here. Now I can see the pip on this guy, but you know, you can obviously cover 1,000 meters pretty quickly. I'm not flying very fast, and you can see it right now as you look. I'm definitely not. That's a dead rock. So, I would say that the majority of rocks we've looked at so far have not been scannable. Drizniz says, "Gotta run. Thanks for the info, sub." Thank you, Driz. I appreciate that. I really appreciate your sub, sir. And you know, we're going to be doing tons of mining. Tons and tons and tons of mining. I really appreciate the sub. And by the way, you guys, please do like and sub. Absolutely. I don't say it much in my stream. It's not something that I kind of beat a dead horse with, but please do. It makes a huge difference to the channel. If you guys like and sub, it gets a lot more people can come, can share, can theorycraft. I can learn from you. You can learn from me. I really, really appreciate that for sure, you guys. So it's awesome. I appreciate you saying that. And, you know, you'll never hear me, you know, like saying a ton of times. Like sometimes Chris Bates, hey Chris, will trick me, like Anchorman mode, will trick me into asking for a sub. I don't ask much, but you know what? We're trying to grow the community here, and just kind of, you know, anybody who loves mining or theory crafting about Star Citizen, we would love to have on board. So here's a couple of doublers, you know, and these are P types, so we're going to kind of keep moving. They're not the type that we're looking for. Andy Davies, welcome to the channel. How you doing, Andy? Nice to see you. I wonder if the same thing is causing NPCs not to spawn until they are very close to. I bet you there's some scanning stuff that's very crossover in that regard. I haven't had any, you know, I haven't done any of that kind of stuff yet myself, Andy, so I can't necessarily speak to crossover too much, but I'm sure that, you know, some of this stuff is definitely interwoven for sure. Chris Bates says it's usually my job. It is, Chris. Chris sometimes tricks me into asking you guys to like and sub because, you know, he knows I don't say it very much, I think, and takes pity on me and then puts it in the channel. And I love to read your guys' and what you're saying. See, see how fast I was zipping by that guy? You know, it's one of those things where if you're not paying attention, you could be on one of those rocks and into one of those rocks before you like it. That's an E-type. We're going to keep moving. All right, next opportunity marker, here we come. And so you guys can tell, though, already you can tell, this is going to be a slow, meticulous job. This is like right now, you know, it's slow. I mean, and if you didn't have the mining laser to just kind of get you a little bit of extra love when it comes to getting the scan results, it would really be slow. So this is a dead rock here. I did not see marbling on that rock at all. So, yeah, I definitely see what people are saying for sure. All right, well, with that being said, you know, we'll keep our foot on the gas here and see if we can find something to mine. P-types, yeah. Drac is always trying to stir the pot with P-types. He knows he's saying, P is in with a couple of E's at the end of it. I see you, Drac. I see what you're up to. I see what you're trying to get me to step in. That's an E-type right there. We're going to keep on moving. And so we definitely are getting plenty of opportunity markers. Opportunity markers are doing really well. It's you know, it's kind of the close-in scanning mechanics that are. You can see why this would take an awful long time to locate some things. That's for sure. Chris Bates says, I can't play the game with no PC, so this helps me feel like a part of the community I love. Chris, that's a really great way to look at it. I really do appreciate that, you know, you're always here contributing. I love that. And then, yeah, it's just one of those things. I think it's a beautiful way to contribute to the channel and obviously be a part of Star Citizen as well. And these are a couple of E-types. Both of them are scannable. but they're 100% not what we're looking for. And of course, one thing that hasn't changed is if you do find Quantanium rocks, they're all going to be Quantanium. In a cluster, if it's more than 2 rocks, that hasn't changed. If you find more than 2 together, if one of them's Quantanium, all of them are going to be Quantanium. Greg Peter says nothing like a good pee. I agree with that, Greg. No, that's funny. Andy Davis says hi and thanks for asking. Yeah, no problem, Andy, for sure. We are just cruising along here, looking for something to mine here in the Aaron Halo. And it is absolutely, you know, a very interesting time. You know, it's just one of these situations where I don't see... There it is. Tough to pick out. I'm glad I wasn't flying right towards it. That's a P-type. We're going to keep on moving. We're going to go to this next opportunity marker. Ramoyne says, at Great Peter, a couple of years. If you look after it, you'll get a few years out of it, more than 2. Macedon, how you doing, Mass? Nice to see you, sir. Macedon says, hi, how's everyone doing? Great question, Mass. Everybody, I think, is doing pretty good. We're out here monkeying around in the Halo, trying to make sense of some of the scanning mechanics and seeing... and then I'm getting a what are you doing, man? Just kind of out here scanning, sir. And we will kind of keep... There's the rock there. Definitely not one that's scanning. There's another Quantanium rock that's unscannable. So that's for the 4 Quantanium rocks we found out here so far. Every one of them have not been scannable. That's definitely got the marbling on it. I seen it as we went by. And so we've passed 4 Quantanium rocks that were... Of course, then, you know... And here's the thing you guys have to remember. Then it's like which... You know, when you kind of begin narrowing it down, like some of them aren't going to scan. Other ones you have to get very close to. And then you have to find ones that actually have high percentages in them as well. Very, very, very can be a situation that can take an awful lot of time. And so this is what the people have been talking about, and this is kind of what I wanted to talk about with all of you. And you know, and one of the things, I mean, this is an unscannable rock. Lots of unscannables out here as well. Do not see any orange marbling on that one. We'll keep flying towards the next opportunity marker. And so, Cyber Spooky says, I can't find any triples the other night, so I don't know if the meta has changed. Oh, no triples at all. Interesting. I was definitely finding triples in 3.7 PTU, Cyber Spooky. That's interesting that you should say that. You know, one of the things, what Cyber Spooky is speaking to you guys is, whenever you find out in this part of the Halo, and I don't know if it's every part of the Halo, but every time it was three rocks, it was never Quantanium. Doe, yeah, Doe, how you doing tonight? Steve Duke says, I did that for 3 hours before giving up mining in the belt. Doe, yeah, says, so it wasn't just me. Thanks for checking this out. You bet. That's what we're, you know, one of the things we're definitely going to look to is we're going to work the problem. We're going to educate ourselves on what the scanning mechanics are. We're going to look at every video I can look at. Earlier, Darth was saying that there's, you know, there's a video out, there's another one. That's a Quantanium rock right there that's unscannable. So we're 5 for 5 on Quantanium rocks, not scannable rocks. I am going to fly back. Here, I'll just show you guys, because I'm not sure if you could catch that quick. You know, I know it's flying by, you know, at a distance, but you know, this is a Quantanium rock for sure. You can see the orange marbling right on the rock. It's 5 for 5. We found 5 Quantanium rocks now in the Halo, and none of them have been scannable. You know, some singles, some doubles. I mean, it's just, that's just what it is. You know, and it's like I said, this isn't, I definitely don't want to sound salty. I'm not salty. I definitely am somebody who's just kind of showing you what is the community's talking about. There's a lot of, you know, some very sad people on Reddit. There's some very sad people on Spectrum. You know, within our organization, we've seen some people that are, you know, that are just like, hey, man, it's a lot harder to find anything in the Aaron Halo. Not only is the majority of the rocks that I've seen been unscannable, I'm 5 for 5 unscannables when it comes to Quantanium rocks. And so it, like specifically Quantanium rocks, I've not seen anything so far that has been something I can actually put the lasers, that I even have been able to even get an attempt to scan. And so that times kind of the difficulty of locating something that's got a decent percentage in it is really going to mean that it's going to be very slow. And so let me go ahead and take a look at the time here. Yep, I've got about 20 more minutes or so before I'm going to get going. We're going to keep on looking here for that amount of time. Now, that's 3 rocks right there. And let's see if any of them are scanning. They're M-types, so yeah, I flew past those. Absolutely very interesting night tonight. And I will definitely be shooting, like using the Terrapin, in some cases using the Cutlass Red, in some cases using the, as an E-type, in some cases using the Constellation Aquila. I don't know of any other ships that have fancy scanners on them. I think those are the 3. And I am going to, I'll test with those too. I will be taking some video. I will be putting some videos out about this. And I'm not going to, one of the things I'll tell you is I'm not going to be real salty about it. I'm going to be real clinical about it. I really want anybody to understand. I feel what you're saying. Like, I love mining in Star Citizen, and this is really a significant change. And it's really going to lead to a much slower pace for locating, mineable rocks. And I'm going to do everything I can to put it on Reddit and put it in Spectrum. And I'm going to stay respectful. And I'm going to, but I'm going to do all my due diligence. You guys know I love mining in Star Citizen, but I can understand now. Like, I wasn't sure when I wasn't saying I didn't believe people, but I wasn't sure when I first. I've been mining in the Air and Halo for a year and 6 months. I can, off and on, I've been mining in Star Citizen for a year and 6 months. I mostly go to Lyria, but I've spent tons of time in the Air and Halo as well. We've had organizational runs there. And you can see this is going to take a long time. I mean, it definitely will take a long time. Andrea says, neither the Aquila or the Terrapin work on rocks. I own both. Both scanners are useless. It's true, Andreas. I definitely understand what you're saying. I took the Terrapin out to Lyria yesterday, just kind of monkeying around. But I do want to make sure that when I'm presenting my facts, I am specifically using those vehicles that have the advanced scanning mechanics on them, just because I think it does lend weight to the argument. Sandy Claus says, you still going? Yep, Sandy. We did a little. We did find 14 SCU on Lyria. And now we're over here in the Air and Halo looking at this thing. Oops, you guys, here's this best adult guy here again. I'm going to go ahead and hide that user from the channel. And I'm going to report that user for pornography. Sorry about that. I've never incurred the wrath of the bots before. And I also appreciate 14's been trying to look at that for you guys as well. Alex Thompson says they wanted a slow progression across the board, so did this to mining and made bounty hunting a lot harder. It seems that may be the case, Alex. I mean, we'll have to see. I mean, the verdict's not 100% out yet. Drakey Phoenix says, I hope more effort goes in towards mining in the updates to come. I agree with you, sir. Now, here's a couple of Q types that will scan, you guys, so this is great. Let's cross our fingers and hope that there's a decent percentage in one of these rocks. So we finally did run across a couple of Q types that will scan. This is not going to be a great percentage here. And this one here, let's see. Well, this is a 4931. Nope, neither one of those are worth mining. That's a 4%er. And this here is going to be like a 2%er, I believe. Yep, 2 and a 4%er there. So those aren't great. Sandy Claus says you're popular now. Oh heavens, Sandy. It's just the. I think 317 is got it's piqued their interests. You mean as far as the bots go? Yeah, I don't know. That is the first time I've ever had bots, you guys. It is funny. I'm not saying I wasn't expecting them to happen, at some point, but yeah, it is weird. Andrea says porn not something to minor. Yeah, that's exactly right. And you know what? I'm just always going to do my very best to I'll call them out when I see them. I'll do my best to take care of them. And the people that I know that are good friends, or, here's another set. Hey, you guys, there's some more scannable rocks here. Let's go ahead and take a look. There's another set of doublers here, and they're both rocks that I can scan. This is going to be a decent rock. This could be a decent one. Yeah, hey, you guys, that's an excellent rock. We'll go ahead and break that guy up. And what about this guy here? So here we found, this is kind of what you're looking for in life, right? This is by far a 40/40. This is a 4631 at 47.62%. So this is a nice rock, you guys. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take advantage of this one. We're gonna knock this guy out. We're gonna put this guy in the hopper, and we're gonna fly home. So let's go ahead and start the mining process. You can see I used the dark part of the rock to get some contrast. Notice how I positioned the sun, got myself some excellent contrast. Excellent rock, you guys. Let's go ahead and crank this guy up. And we will begin looking, just seeing how we're doing. What we're going to do is we're going to abuse the heck out of these brants. That's why we brought them. We also have the FLTRXL. We're going to hope that this guy breaks clean. Half this rock is Quantanium, darn near half. So this should go fairly well. Ramoyne says only dating going on here is... Yeah, exactly. I'm married to the... I have a wife who I adore, who's absolutely a lovely soul. We definitely are. It's so funny we're attracting the bots, you guys. It is one of those things. Greenwald 007. Nice to see you, Green. Not a name I recognize. Welcome to the channel. Very happy to have you aboard. We're doing a little bit of... we definitely came out here and did some scanning. We did some scanning on Lyria. We found a rock. We're doing some scanning on the Iron Halo. We definitely found a nice rock here to mine tonight. We don't want to waste this opportunity. We definitely want to make sure that we put some of this in the hopper here. And so we're about to break into the green. Notice I'm already kind of pre-dropping. Now, maybe it was a little too aggressive there, but when it's about to slide up into the green, you definitely want to immediately begin kind of thinking about scaling it back a little bit. It's a 1.93 instability. That's not unmanageable, but it's definitely something where, you want to kind of manage it well. I will keep my eye primarily on the mining UI for a little bit here. It definitely wanted to try and jump up there. You can see I'm feathering up. It fell out for a little bit. I'm fighting it and pushing it back up in there. Notice I had to kill the laser there. It tried to jump up really fast. That's okay. It's one of those things. I turned the laser off. Scaled it way back. It's definitely being a little bit... I could have fired a brand to kind of keep it honest. And she broke up a little bit, but that was a fine break. There was nothing wrong with that. We got a little bit of that's a 79%er there. She broke up a little bit grumpy. This is going to be a 54 there. So it didn't break as clean as I was hoping. There's an 850 there. So all these are going to have to be required. I'm going to have to do some very discernible scooping. Yep, all these are going to have some Quantanium in it, and that very well could have been, due to the fact that she broke a little bit yucky there. But you know what? We have lots of brants on board, and we're going to just break these. We're going to break every one of these rocks down, and we are going to just do our best to scoop the cleanest possible amount that we can out of here. So now we're definitely going to take advantage of our brants. I could tell that I had a little lag spike there, and I just kind of killed the laser for a second. And we dealt with it, but we put a couple into the overcharge, and even a little bit into the overcharge, even if they don't break into the overcharge, can definitely put a little bit of heat into them for sure. And we're just going to break down every one of these rocks. We're going to do the best we can to scoop as clean as we can and see what we have. It definitely didn't break clean on the first breaks. We're hoping to do a little better on the second ones. All right, that's a good break there. We're moving on to this next guy. Now the goal is, like I said, with the branch, we want to try and get within 30 seconds. We want to try and get up into the green first, you know, and then we're pretty close. Good. We had about 32 seconds left or so when we got into the green on that one. And so we should be able to break this rock as well. I'm definitely getting just a touch of lag there, I noticed. No big deal. Feathering just kind of back and forth, keeping it honest. Definitely abusing that brant. And we should be able to get the second break in nice and clean here. Little at the tail there. All right, so next breaks here. This one's half Quantanium here. We'll go ahead and fire this now. Not in optimal range. That's okay. I'll be fine from back here. Once again, we're going to just fire brant. We're going to look to break a couple of them with one brant. That's our goal. I want to get up into the green before I fire the brant. All right, 15% or so. It seems to be kind of holding it in there. I popped up back to 20. We're keeping a good eye on it. 18, we're kind of settling in on. And it looks like we're in pretty good shape. I'm going to drop back to 14. I like to kind of flirt with the middle to the bottom of the optimal. I don't like to get up near the overcharge if I can avoid it. You know, that being said, sometimes these guys just spike up and it just happens. You know, there's not a lot you can do about it. So, all right, we got a break there. That's a purple. There's another pretty good chunk here. We're going to break this 908 down. We've got 41 left, so I'm going to try and push it up towards the green. I know it's a little scary, but as soon as I get up kind of close to the green, I am going to start dropping down. Hopefully don't go into the, overage there. I try to get into it within 30%. And for sure, we, not bad. We're at 18% holding here. I'm going to drop it back to 16. It is trying to climb up towards the overcharge. We just want to settle in here, you guys, and just kind of just keep after it. Now, I will tell you guys, I do heavily focus on the mining UI when I'm mining Quantanium. I lose the chat a little bit, so I do apologize. You know, if I want to do a good job on the mining part of it, which I do like to demonstrate from time to time. It does require a little bit of focus. This was nothing here. There was one more rock that had stuff in it. It's this guy here. And we're just going to use this. Another brant on this guy. It's a 2.2 instability. It's really, using those brants is a lot about, you can see it wants to swing very wild. It's a lot about just the efficiency at which we can mine. So I brought it way down here. We've kind of hovered around that 18% mark. I'm a little ways away from this thing. That's okay. It doesn't, we're out of sufficient, we're not in optimal range, but we don't have to be. Now, we are going to have to be fairly discerning with the laser. We probably should have a pretty good run here. Some of this may not have broke up all that clean, though. We may not get a uni out of this, but we certainly should be, up around 25 or so, hopefully. There was a lot of this that was kind of half amounts and stuff. That's okay. We're going to do our very best to pick out the best stuff in this thing and do the best we can. All right. So with those things kind of broken, that was definitely it. We're gonna look for anything that we can get that's a hundo here first. So that's a 21%er. We'll see how this guy broke. 100%er. We'll start right there. So we're gonna start scooping, and our goal obviously is to get as pure a load as we can. And 14, I really do appreciate you keeping an eye on the chat for me, sir. I know that it's one of those things where I definitely would like to get a nice clean. There's enough overhead SEU in here if it broke clean for us to do pretty well. This is probably, this is another hundo. Absolutely love prospector mining. Obviously, as we can tell, it's going to be, we're going to have our challenges here. Now, this is probably going to, there's 100% Quantanium there as well. So it looks like most of the stuff in this first rock broke up. You know, anything that a lot of the trash stuff broke into there. We're gonna go top to bottom here now. Anything that's 100%er, we're gonna scoop up. That's a good sign when you know, in purples, there's nothing Quantanium in it. That's a 71%er. We'll remember that one. Now, of course, if there's lots and lots of these low percentage ones, it will be just what it is. There's a hundo. That's exactly what we're looking for. Awesome. Let's keep moving along here. That's 100% quartz. That's a great sign. Got to be careful not to... There's a 61%er, so okay. No problem there. 54%er there. It doesn't look like it's going to have broke clean enough, maybe. I'm starting to think that we may not pull the uni out of this. 91%er. That's okay. I mean, you know, I'm going to try and grab any... I'll remember that 91%er. That's 100% nothing quartz. That's nothing there. I got 3 more rocks to scan. 100%er will take that guy for sure. All right, we're 21 SCU. We got a couple more rocks. We're definitely not getting a uni out of this. You know, we're not going to do bad, though. We still have some good percentages left. We're just crossing 25 SCU. Maybe. Let's see what this guy is. Hopefully it's a hundo. It's a 56%er. So I had this 91%er here. One of the things I do like is it seems, at least this time, it seems to be remembering the scan. That was a big rock right there. That is over 30 SCU, so that's fantastic. There's a 21%er here. That's a 71. Let's see. Is that 71 the highest one? That's a 61. Let's have it rescan this guy here. That's nothing. I think that's nothing. That's nothing. That's 56. So I think my next best one was going to be the 70. 71%er here. We're going to grab that. That's going to top us off. And it's a 31.21 SCU run. We're not going to be... That's absolutely fine. That's a great run, you know, for sure. I'm going to go ahead and switch back to sticks. We're going to fire up the quantum drive, and in we go. So absolutely, you know, very good run so far. Obviously, we want to get this home safely. And that's, as you guys know, after I ran into the station on Friday night, it's not always a guarantee that I'm going to get it safely. So we're going to go ahead and punch it and go put this guy down in the hopper for sure. So let's I want to go over some things. So we learned today, of course, the scanning meta's changed, right? Really, it's in your best interest, if you're going to fly on Lyria within 1,000 meters of rocks, you know, you might as well just, even if they're singles, you might as well just pull out the mining laser and look at them. There's going to be you're going to, you know, so you're going to, you know, I hate to say this, but I think the meta's kind of going back to where you really have to look at, you really do have to look at single rocks on Lyria now. If you've got to fly to the opportunity marker anyways, there's a chance it's going to be gems. There's a chance it's going to be singles. If you're within 1,100 already, you might as well just pull that mining laser out and go look at the darn thing. And I'm not saying do a deep scan on it, but if it's if it's Q rock, if it's a Quantanium rock, absolutely. You know, so this was a good run, you guys. I mean, obviously, like I said, we've got to land. We've got to put this thing in the hopper. You know, there's things that can happen between now and the refinery, so we got to stay professional here, keep our head down. Now, the scanning meta in the Halo is definitely between your dead rocks and between your, you know, having to kind of get really close to things, and without opportunity markers popping up, or without rock icons, when they show up at only 1,100, it can be a little dangerous if you're flying towards them, you know what I mean? So they kind of pop up at a distance that could be incredibly dangerous, you know, so you have to kind of keep your head on a swivel. You actually, if you look closely, you can kind of pick them out as they're coming towards you. You know, oh, Ramoyne, you know, whenever I crash my ship, it's always going to be my fault, right? But yeah, my excellent piloting. That's exactly right. Andreas says mining laser is pretty much is a must. Pretty much, I agree. That's a great point, Andreas. The mining lasers really. I mean, you really are using your prospector to prospect. Kind of that old thing about taking a fast ship and flying over. It's not to say that doesn't work, but like instead of having a 10,000, across. I mean, it's much greater. It's like basically 2,500 across. You have a much smaller bubble that you can detect rocks in. So it's just a smaller bubble. I think I'll try and create some kind of a graphic. If you used to be able to draw rocks out 5,000 to one side and 5,000 to other, you have to remember it's a 10,000 meter wide swath as you drive by. Now your swath as you drive by is much closer to 2,500. So it's 75% or 80% less, you know what I mean? So I'm just going to cruise in here. We haven't heard first alarm yet. I'm definitely not pointing to the station, although I am starting to pick up the clip here at a 383. Guy Just Cool, okay, got amidst the explanation. Can you do a recap since you're talking about the silent nerf? Yeah, I mean, that's it. I mean, the Iron Halo in particular is egregious, right? You have your traditional non-scannable rocks. A bunch of the rocks wouldn't scan that I looked at. Of course, then you also had a bunch of the Quantanium rocks in particular didn't scan. Now, I did finally find a decent rock. But I can tell you that it's going to be a slow process, and anybody who's in anything except a prospector, like even if you were in a mole, you're going to have to V scan things, and V scanning things is going to be pretty slow. You've got to get very close. It's one of those things, I can definitely see where solo mole mining, probably out of everything, maybe has taken the worst hit in the Iron Halo. That's where it's going to be fairly egregious. You're going to have to be really, really, really on top of things. And that you're going to have to really rely on your V-scan. So notice I'm going exceptionally slow here. I'm going to drop the gear. I'm going to drop the VTOL. I'm being very meticulous on purpose. I haven't even heard first alarm yet. I don't want any funny business to happen. That's kind of my own doing. Bring it in here. I'm going to go ahead and set her down. All right, we're going to do a post flight here. We're in really good shape to post flight. That's excellent. I'm going to go ahead and turn the engines off. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to back this guy out. I'm going to go in and store this guy. And we just got over 31 SCU, I believe. We'll go ahead and take a look. Over 31 SCU in the Halo, which was a great run. And so, we're not going to complain about that run. Whenever you can go to the Iron Halo and come back with a run like that. Now, it's going to be, the long and short of it is mining in a prospector and a mole is going to take a little bit more time than it used to. And on average, probably a fairly decent chunk of time. I bet you if we were to take the averages out, hey Mauricio, how are you doing tonight? Nice to see you. If we were to take the averages out, I bet you it's going to be at least 25% slower, and I may be being generous, quite honestly. That's about the takeaway that I have is it's at least going to be 25% slower. We'll have to see as it plays out long term. But that being said, we'll at least, we'll also count our blessings and count up how much money we did make on the stream tonight too. So I'm going to go ahead and store this guy. Claim, retrieve, perfect. All right, we're going to run down to the refinery. We're going to put this guy in the hat. Ramoin says very clean landing. Yes, I definitely was taking my time. And yeah, hey, one public service announcement. If you run up to an elevator in Star Citizen and you see this, don't go in there. Okay, do not go in there. Don't trust that something's in there. It's not. That's not something you want to ever go into right there. Now, this type of elevator, that looks great. All right, in we go. So, refinery run for sure. Absolutely. Oh, Guy Just Cool says, just did a 4 trip, same rock with a buddy, around 100 SCU, but that's Lyria, and it was 2 prospectors. on a 39% 4600 and a 41% 8200. I'll tell you, that's a very good point. Guy Just Cool. It's a lot of it is going to be working with friends. I mean, a couple of you out there looking for rocks. Sometimes you find some doublers. Sometimes you find a cluster. I mean, that's really going to be your best bet. Is more pairing up with folks that mine. Mauricio says, today I went to the Halo. 90% of the rocks were unscannable. Mauricio, that was one of the things, if you go back earlier in the scan, I found the first 4 or 5 Quantanium rocks I found were unscannable, including a whole bunch of rocks that were other unscannable. I eventually did come along, and yes, the elevator hungers. It does, man. I was killed so many times in 317 PTU by the elevator. It's like the most dangerous thing in the verse. Andrea says, I just learned that it's enough to hover above the port or station ATM to pull items from your ship and vice versa. Yeah, you don't have to land on a pad or anything. You can just kind of be in the bubble range. So, all right, so we're going to go ahead and do this. We're going to begin this. We're going to go here. We're going to select an order. We're going to go ahead and choose this guy. That was a very good run, 31-21. Not a unicorn, but nothing to sneeze at for sure. We're going to go ahead and do the Dynex solvenation. I'm going to go ahead and confirm this. So, terrible run, the first one. I mean, 1338 yield, but 2964 yield. So let's just pull out my phone. Hey, one thing I will say. Oh my gosh, look at my grandson got his glasses today. He looks so handsome. Pulling out my phone. He looks fantastic. That little guy. Oh, my stars in heaven. So yeah, let me just I just want to do this for you guys really quickly. It's a 1338. And I do want to plus that at 2965. That is 4303 times 88. Listen, I mean, one of the things in my stream today, and obviously I still have to get through this refining. I still have to haul it in. As slow as it was today, I still made 378,000 SCU. And so that's the one thing I want you guys to think about. I mean, I still made, between my absolutely, not great Lyria run and the run that I just did now, I still made 373,000 SCU. It's not that bad, So it's bad. It's much slower than it used to be, but it's not unbearable. I do think that we want to still continue to collect information. We definitely want to test different ships. We unequivocally want to keep trying to see if there's some way to kind of maximize, optimize, work through the problem. I love mining in Star Citizen. I'm never going to stop. I absolutely, I do it because it's enjoyable. One of the things I want to say to you guys tonight is I've never had 78 or 80 people on the stream before. It's been fantastic. Please do like and subscribe. I will mention, while I have you here, we have an app. There's a link in the description. It's $1. It will quickly tell you, if you bang in a mass and a percentage, how much Quantanium is in a rock. It's a very handy tool. It also, you can add a rock and add a rock and add a rock and get the totals for your clusters. It's an early release. It's only $1. The other thing is SpectreFleet.space. Please do, if you're interested in organizational gameplay, you don't have to mine. If you want to shoot people FPS style, if you want to shoot people ship-to-ship combat style, if you're interested in any gameplay in Star Citizen, we're always looking for people. We had a wonderful operation happen on Saturday night. We really would love you to come out. Thank you all so much for spending some time with me tonight. I will be doing lots more streaming in the future. I can't thank you enough all for joining tonight. Please take care of yourself, and I will see you all around the verse.